Start it up with this clip. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MazzaMedia. I am Mark, your host, and we are live here this afternoon. I'm just going to be doing a watch party in a little bit for the Celtics. I'm actually going to be watching the Celtics game, talking about the Celtics game, and reacting to it live as it happens. This is going to be a fundraiser special as well. For about 30 minutes, I'm going to talk about some of the news that's gone down in the past few days in regards to the trial. And we should have a big raid from another good friend of mine's show in a little bit, who's live right now as well. So we'll get a nice audience here, hopefully, for this. Celtics game won't actually be playing on this channel. You'll have to actually watch it on your own TV or mobile device or computer at home or wherever you are. And I'll be talking about the Celtics game and reacting to it. Celtics got to win today. No question about that. But let's talk about what's going on out there. And of Karen Reed, it was a big week for the defense, and they had a big witness, Yuri Bukaknik or whatever, however you say it, Buchanek or something like that. He was there. He was direct examined and cross-examined for quite a long time. He's even expected to be back on Monday. I believe there's court on Monday. Someone can fact check me if I'm incorrect about that. Fix these glasses here. But yeah, I'm doing good. If you're a mother, happy Mother's Day to you in advance as well. I'll be on Brit Happens tomorrow evening to do another fundraiser for Karen. Today, we are doing a Karen Reed fundraiser. The funds are over $956,000 as of today. A few donations have come in to put that right over the top. We're trying to help out with that any way we can. Someone just said court 10 a.m. on Monday. One sec. Sorry about that. Just had lunch. Sorry about that. I had a lifesaver at the beginning of the show, so I'm like, wasn't dissolving quick enough. So I'm like, let me just play a video for a few minutes with no sound just to kind of cover some time. But yeah, happy Mother's Day out there to all the mothers. My mom, happy Mother's Day to her as well. Yet another one for her. And the big day tomorrow, obviously, just showing love and appreciation for your moms and all they do for you. They are selfless. Even though we all have our spats with our own mothers from time to time and disagreements, we all love them. Happy Mother's Day to Janet Reed as well, the mother of Karen Reed, of course. And we just wish her all the best tomorrow. It's unfortunate that she has to endure her daughter for a second consecutive spring, battling for her freedom. But I think we'll prevail. Karen will prevail, I'll say, in the long run here. And we'll see how that ultimately goes in time. So all the best to them and the Karen Reed family. And again, happy Mother's Day if you're a mother, and to your mothers as well. I'd like to wish my cat a happy birthday. It's his third birthday already. It's hard to believe he's been with me for 2.5 years now. Which is crazy. I remember picking him up like it was yesterday when my previous cat had passed away a month before. Going cat shopping is exciting, but it's kind of gloomy because you're replacing your older animal that you've had for so long who's recently deceased with a new animal. So it's always it's a lot to go through. It's a lot of sadness and grief that it was for me in October 2022, but then in November it was a lot of happiness as the energy shifted from a much older cat that was struggling in his dying days to now a young, energetic cat that was now sprinting around the house at a rate of about 26 miles per hour and jumping over all the furniture and needed to be trained on what he can and cannot crawl on. There is no crawling on the kitchen table ever. That's one of my rules and one of the house rules for that matter. So, yeah, we got a good show today. We're going to talk about some Karen Reed stuff, and we're going to talk about some Turtle Boy stuff. And then this is going to basically morph into a Celtics show. And we're going to still talk about Karen Reed throughout the show. And I'll be updating the numbers here with all the donations that come in. We are at a 0 presently. So if you guys are able to make a donation, who's tuning in right now, please do. If you are able, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Chloe. Bit you have to acquit. Yeah. So I think one of the most important things right now is the establishment of reasonable doubt, right? That's ultimately what this is all about. This is what the whole game plan's been right along, has been establishing reasonable doubt and bringing it to a point where everyone needs to realize, guess what? There's not enough evidence here to convict Karen, right? Even the previous jury failed to do that. They could not. Yeah, Karen Reed was not acquitted, at least officially, right? But that does not mean that she was ultimately proven guilty of anything at any time. So that's the big thing here, which means that there's more than enough reasonable doubt, which means that really that jury should have acquitted her on all 3 charges last year, but that never happened, unfortunately, which was a little bit rough. So when we're looking at this trial, the biggest thing to establish for the defense is what's going on in this courtroom. And what is important is every witness that's on there that you counter with a reasonable doubt establishment. And I think that's exactly what's happened here. At the beginning of the show moments ago, I just played footage by Microdots of the Waterfall footage with Brian Higgins. Brian Higgins was predominantly featured yesterday in court, as all of us saw. For those that you were able to watch it live, or those like myself that caught up in the evening, we saw that those text messages were read through and through, and it shows that Karen Reed and Higgins did have an affiliation. It also further established that John O'Keefe and Karen, as we know, had an affiliation, and it also establishes that at some point there must have been a conflict of some sort between Karen and Brian Higgins and John O'Keefe, predominantly due to Brian Higgins, who was in a heavy text exchange with Karen that was really going nowhere. Most people were making fun of his text game for obvious reasons. And ultimately, we learned that, Karen and him just weren't going to be meant to be. And the Waterfall footage that was presented by Microdots here shows some footage here that was not featured during the first trial, which is that something is going on here at the Waterfall that establishes that there's some kind of beef and there's some kind of conflict. And this is a very big thing for the jury to see, especially when you are the defense and you're trying to establish that Karen Reed didn't do it. You want to create reasonable doubt in a manner that is saying that, number one, John went in the house, and number two, there must have been a conflict inside the house. Here we have footage from the Waterfall security camera that actually shows a beef, an actual conflict of some sorts that's going on here. And here you have the homeowner who is grabbing Higgins by the wrist and trying to de-escalate a conflict here. There is obviously something going on near the bar. Karen and Jen are talking, as well as John O'Keefe. And here we have this beef. Thank you guys for welcoming me back. I do appreciate it. But that's exactly what's happening here. There is some dissension. There is a conflict. There is something going on. And when you're trying to say, hey, look, Karen didn't hit him, and this is why Karen didn't hit him, you need to have something that you can use to say, well, this is why we believe Karen didn't hit him. Besides scientifically proving that she didn't do it, look at the waterfall footage here. Look at this footage that shows a pretty contested conflict going on. And that's what we see here. And when you're trying to get reasonable doubt, which is all you really need to acquit somebody, this is going to be very helpful that John went in the house. His Apple Health data shows that he went in the house. He must have had a conflict with somebody or some people. And here is some footage to show you that something happened right here. So that's where this is at right now, which is big footage. This is great footage by Microdots. I think JFK and James Jackson had played a pretty big part in breaking down this footage on their own show. And it's believed that Higgins may have called their show and said, "You wrong. You wrong." But, again, I mean, you play this. I mean, there's a lot of contesting right now by attorney Mark Betterow. If anyone tuned into the Young Jerks last night, that he believes that Hank Brennan may not actually call quite a few of these witnesses that they listed that may have been or may not have been in the house, but probably were in the house. And this is a big issue. Excuse me, for the prosecution. I should correct myself. The prosecution may not call them because the defense got smart. Not that haven't always been smart. Of course they've been smart. But the defense only listed a handful of witnesses in the first trial, if we all recall. This time around, I believe they listed every single person as a witness that the prosecution had listed. And the purposes of all of this are to establish the fact that got a little caught up in that comment there. I maybe you're right. I don't know. I've always thought it was the other Podge. Totally lost my train of thought now. Wonderful. We are alive. You want to establish, repeat myself, you'll establish the fact that there's a lot going on. There's a lot of conflict, right? And when you're trying to, yeah, you guys are right. Yeah, you guys are correcting me. That's right. My mistake. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You're trying to establish the fact that here is a reasonable doubt, right? And I was talking about the witnesses. That's what I was talking about. Okay. So if the defense didn't list all of those witnesses, it's important that they did, which is what they did, because if the prosecution decides that they don't want to call them, they can now call them anyway. So that's what's huge about this. So like to Mark Betterow's point last night, if the prosecution doesn't call out, certain people to the stand, then the defense can ultimately call them anyways. My personal thing would be I'd be interested to see is if they do call Brian, say the prosecution does not call him. There's a chance here that the defense could call them. And then at that particular point, you could call Brian Higgins and then play this footage and have him walk through what's going on here. What's the conflict? What's the issue? And what's interesting in all this footage when we examine it is that there's no evidence of any footage that night of any kind of physical conflict between Karen and John. But there is visual evidence of a conflict between Brian Higgins and John O'Keefe. Now, some records and voice messages that Karen left for John. But what's the difference? The difference is that this waterfall footage versus Karen Reed's voicemails take place either before or after the scene at 34 Fairview, which means one thing. Karen is only audio, captured on audio, saying mean things or angry things to John after the alleged incident. There is no visual or audio evidence of Karen prior to that incident, other than the fact that she left a series of voice messages while she was outside the house. But even by then, he had gone inside the house. They can try to tell you he didn't, but Apple Health data shows he went right. But there's nothing on video at the Waterfall. There's nothing on video at C.F. McCarthy's that shows Karen and John were having a bad night. Just that she left a few voice messages, and if she had hit him, why would she be calling him? Yeah, like if he was outside the vehicle, why call him? Why not just yell out the window? It just doesn't add up. But there is information here on video that we can see for our own eyes that there is a squabble between Brian Higgins and John O'Keefe. Now, it's important to remember that this is not evidence that Brian Higgins was in any way, shape, or form responsible for beating down and killing John O'Keefe. It only suggests that it is possible that a conflict between Brian and John took place, or perhaps maybe a conflict between Brian and John may have happened in the house, but maybe another person or two got involved. We don't know. There's just no way to really say who it is. And like Alan Jackson said in an interview, it's not for us to know. But what we can establish is the fact that there's not much to suggest that Karen Read did anything here. And when you're trying to establish reasonable doubt, this much is huge. This much is very huge. So that's exactly what information you have here. Is that there's a beef. There's video here. There's Brian and Brian talking. They're looking right in that direction. And there is a conflict, which is huge. And I think one of the things that is huge here, too, is that with Yuri on the stand yesterday, I thought that, and I can't recall if the text messages between Karen and John were read like that in court during the first trial. I cannot recall that. But either way, I guess all that matters now is it is played in this trial. And it is something that is notable. And it's good that the jury is seeing this very early on. You see Karen and Jen and John in the back. You see, I think that's Chris and Brian near the table. It's important that the jury sees this. And it's also, I think, important that this video is played before Higgins is ever called to the stand, whether that is by the prosecution that calls him or by the defense, because now the jury already has an eye for all of this, which I think is very important. And I think that's very huge. And I think this was brilliantly done. And you got to thank Microdots for the effort he's done. This is the video that he's edited. This is the video that he's edited. And it is big time footage because it shows, like I said, it's not about at the end of the day saying anything about Higgins as much as it is that this video tells you a big picture about Karen. When you're trying to establish that doubt, there it is for you. And it's all there. There's a lot of huffing. There's a lot of puffing. And, obviously, when you're trying to establish that John went in the house and that a beatdown might have taken place, this is the kind of footage that you want at your disposal. This is something that really creeps in the head of that defense, of the jury rather, from the defense, and gets in the head and says, hey, guess what? Something's gone on here. There's an issue here, and there's a problem. And it's not Karen. There's something else that has gone on. And I think that is huge. One of the things that I personally noticed yesterday, and before we do that, the Karen Read Defense Fund fundraiser is going on right now on this program. If you can go to the link pinned to the top of the chat, and let's see if we got any so far. We do. We got $20. Thanks so much, Anonymous. All right, we'll put that in. We're getting started here with the $20 donation. Perfecto. Thank you. And I appreciate that donation to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. Someone said, "Are you coming here?" What do you mean by that? We'll leave that footage up. All right. So, yes, that link is pinned to the top of the chat. We got $20 in. Thank you guys so much. And so I want to say this too. On the 8th, Yuri had played Reed's drinking that night. And for me, I just feel like the drinking is a huge part of which was that was an issue with her entire on Thursday. I'm sure is that all the footage that the prosecution uses is essentially, I think that was day 12, right? Yeah, that's right. Yuri was in a blue suit. One moment. Let's see if I can find this footage. They play the footage of her being served. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Right there. Perfect. All right. Play this. All right. Let's get this set up properly like that and like that. Perfect. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So someone's saying a bad connection. Can I have some other additional people verify the connection, please? Every show I get that at some point. Let me just see here. Yeah, one sec.
I'm Christy Nome, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Thank you.
I'm just checking my connection. Properly like that. Yeah, it all sounds good to me. All right, sounds good to me. So they play this footage. This is the prosecution. And this is the information playing here about the drawing. Here. There's this.
Stop it there.
Happy.
Do you recognize who's in that video?
Yes.
From left to right of people that you recognize and
I would just exit and come back. I don't know why this keeps having
right, it'll
being an
be
issue
Mr.
for
John O'Keefe wearing the gray
Thank you.
sweatshirt that was displayed earlier, and then the defendant who he is trying to embrace with one arm there. I do not know who the other individuals are in the shot.
Okay, thank you. Continue, please. We can proceed to 9:10.
Okay, here we go. So there's a drink. So this was one of the biggest parts about count 2. And this was one of the things they got stuck up on. And I figure for me and everybody else that this is a little bit deceiving in my mind because they're putting this in a situation where I'm just playing my phone right now. I don't see any issue on the phone with the broadcast. So if you guys, I don't know if you guys are having an issue, you might just want to leave and come back or refresh. That might hopefully do it. But they're trying to establish her blood alcohol level here, right? So there's a drink served. Okay. So they're showing you. This is very deceiving here. All right. What I think that needs to be brought up more, and if this hasn't been brought up, the defense needs, and maybe I missed it, I don't know, but the defense needs to bring up this fact. What do you notice about that footage that you just saw? She was served a drink, right? It does not actually show her drink that drink. It also does not show if she actually completed that drink in its entirety. So that's deceptional by the prosecution. So again, here we go.
Receiving her first tall vase, cylindrical style cocktail glass with a lime in it and a straw to go along with it.
The assumption is that she drank all these glasses in their entirities. Now, do they know in every account if every drink was alcoholic? You know? You also notice that they're not really showing her consume the drinks at all. You notice that? Like all the footage is just her sitting around talking, not really drinking anything. I mean, they're trying to convince a jury here that she was boozed out of her mind. Okay, so here's a little bit of drinking. Puts it right back down, takes a sip, snacking on some maybe bar peanuts or something. I don't know. I mean, does she look wildly out of control at this point? They're making it seem like she's just tossing them back.
In that video, we see the defendant get handed her second cylindrical tall style cocktail glass while she finished the first one and then picked up the second one.
When you've made a relevant observation in the video, please interject and stop so you can point out for us what you've seen.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay. Next, please.
Yeah, we don't want to be anything less than clear here.
Here, the defendant is handed a shot.
Stop, please. Okay.
Right there.
I think we'll just have to play it and you'll have to speak as you're watching it. It doesn't look like it can be stopped. Sorry, Ms. Gilman.
She's handed a shot by the bartender on the left side of the screen. She picks it up and puts it into her second cocktail glass, making it a third beverage of alcohol content that she's consuming.
I mean, does she look like she's boozed out of her mind at this point? Jeez. And it's amazing to me that they're not even actually showing her. I mean, they're trying to make it seem like she's drunk. They obviously have access to all this security footage. Why didn't they just include video of her just drinking left and right nonstop? The blood alcohol content level was excessively estimated. They never actually got the actual blood alcohol reading accurate. It was all estimated, guesstimated. You know, that's about it. But whatever they listed her as, it was like insanely drunk. That much I can tell. I have it in a PowerPoint I made a year ago, but I can't remember what it was. But it was to the point of blacking out drunk, and she'd be crawling across the parking lot, basically. I mean, again, look at this. They're not even playing you any footage of her drinking nonstop. It's her talking, standing around. And again, look at this. No conflict between her and John at all. Night out, casually, you know, talking, happy, flirty look at John right there, obviously attracted to him. John's kicking a few back, having a good time. Yeah, that's the best I got for you for an answer. But there's nothing here. I mean, this is the prosecution that's playing this security footage for us from CF McCarthy's. And look at this. Still, she's not drinking anything. Just talking. Talking. That's about it. Having a good time. I mean, this is not like being at a college
Right there we had,
a party in college.
Mr. O'Keefe.
You know, it's not like it's a party in college where, you know, you have those types of people. I'll just say men or women. I won't make it about women. But you have types of men or women out there that drink. And they're tossing them. They got a drink in their hands the whole time. They're drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking. And you know, Karen's just kind of casually out there. I'm not even sure if she doesn't have her drink in hand. There's her right hand up, talking, having a good time. Looks like both her hands are in her pockets. Her drinks on the bar counter. And there's really nothing here. I mean, again, the prosecution's playing all this footage. Thank you, Jay Coop. I'm glad to be back, too. Thank you so much for that super chat. $5. You're the best. But again, okay, now she's having a little bit of a drink here. Yeah, but again, she's not even, there's a sip. You know, drinks for a little bit. Nothing much there. Nothing much there. There's just not much.
Next video, please.
Thank you, guys.
Down
Sounds like it
9.5
sounds
PM.
good.
Yep.
I can't play the footage of the game, Ace. You're going to have to find a way to watch it. I'll be talking about the game here, but I won't be able to play it. I can't have my channel taken down due to NBA or ABC policy. They can't restream a game. That's not going to work.
Cocktail glass.
Jason, what's going on? Hey, Jason, shout out to you. Shout out to Jason on that buffer zone. That came back pretty big yesterday. I'll be talking about the game in a little bit. That's for sure. Celtics going to win this one. That's for sure.
Yes.
Again, talking. Everything's fine between her and John. Again, her drink is on the counter. How many
drinks have been served to the defendant?
4 drinks.
How many drinks have been served to the defendant? They say 4 drinks. They don't even produce footage of her clearing out every glass. I mean, if I sat here, this is me. All right, that's a sip. That's a long sip right there. But it's not like I'm sitting here and kicking back a full glass every 10 seconds. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen. And this footage is so misleading. They're playing this kind of stuff. I'm going to stop sharing. I made my point. But they've established the fact that, what did they establish? Well, she ordered 8 drinks. Were all the drinks alcoholic? Did she drink all of them in full? Maybe a couple shots. That's about it. Now, it looks like we got another donation from Allison, $11. All right, here we go. All right, we got a $10 one too. All right, so we got $20, $11, and $10. I'm going to add this to the total here. We're at $41 right now. All right, we'll see what we can get up to today. All right, now we got some stuff to talk about. We got the buffer zone to talk about. Jason's in the house. My guy Jason Grant is here. So the buffer zone, there's a lot going on with that. So Jason and Allison and Chrissy, and I apologize for forgetting the other person's name, had filed basically a counter to the buffer zone contesting it. Mark Randazza, an attorney yesterday, posted on social media that there was a win, a big win. Win. All right, so let's get this tab shared. There we go. No, I don't like it. It's not big enough. All right. I'm not gonna bother zooming in. I'll just read it. Buffer zone win at First Circuit. He says Canoni could just do the right thing, but if she was capable of that, we would not be here. Maybe this gets back to her and she decides she doesn't want to keep violating the Constitution. So last year, quite a few people had battled back against the judge's buffer zone, and unfortunately it went nowhere, or did not go to a level of what we'd consider sufficient. This time around, different result. There was some progress. Basically, a higher level judge was able to bounce back on this, and like Randazza is saying, you got to kick this back to the judge now, and she's going to amend this to some kind of any kind of way possible. It just needs to be amended at this particular point because it's pretty bad out there in terms of comfortability. Being out there, obviously, I have not been out there for this trial. I have not been a part of the buffer zone and experiencing this year's version of it. But I remember last year's was tough, but it was comfortable enough because you had the church parking lot. You had an ability to put some, stage a truck out there and a tent and all that good stuff and be able to make it comfortable. And I think we made the best of that situation. It was Allison, Samantha, and Lisa. Okay, perfect. Very good. All right. So yeah, you guys, Jason, were able to kind of fight this. Now, I was not sure how this was going to end in terms of the ruling that you guys would get, but you guys fought this. You stood tall and made a personal decision to take this on. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing right now that this has been here. So Turtle Boy had the following to say yesterday. He said, major victory for the First Amendment today. The U.S. First Circuit Court of Appeals has overruled a federal judge who wouldn't amend Judge Canoni's buffer zone, right? So basically they tried, didn't happen. And then a U.S. First Circuit Court of Appeals basically had overruled this federal judge to amend her buffer zone. So it looks like at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, Jason, Allison, shout out to you as well. If I'm wrong in any way, Allison, Jason, just correct me. But it sounds like this doesn't mean that Judge Canoni would be obligated to shut down the buffer zone, but she would have to, at the very least, amend the buffer zone. Let me know if I'm right or wrong about that. I know you guys are the front lines on that, and thank you guys very much for your efforts. We appreciate that. And I'm sure every Karen Reed supporter appreciates that greatly. It doesn't like being pinned up against a tight sidewalk against a fence all the time. That's for sure. It's not comfortable out there. So Aiden continues. They have sent it back to the judge and basically told him to consider a way to modify the buffer zone so that it does not infringe on the First Amendment. And I think that's one of the hugest parts about this whole thing is, it has to be narrowly tailored, Jason says. Thank you, Jason, for clarity. And essentially what that means is what? I've argued this the other day. I thought last year's buffer zone was excessive. I don't speak for everybody. I only speak for myself here. I just think that Judge Cannoni's buffer zone should go no further than the sidewalk that surrounds that court, or no further than the roadway that surrounds that court, meaning just both sides of the road bordering the sidewalk that borders the courthouse. And basically that means that the registry of deeds is fair game, and the sidewalk along the grass that leads you to that church is fair game. I thought last year it was ridiculous that buffer zone went up the sidewalk towards the church lawn. I mean, if she did amend it to at least that, I'd be happy to a degree, because last year's buffer zone was at least sufficiently comfortable, but I still thought it was excessive. I don't like the buffer zone at all, obviously. But like I said, if she wants to just amend that thing to the road or the sidewalks that border that courthouse, it's still a violation of the First Amendment anyways, but at least we get something out of it. Jason writes, it's too broad. We agreed we would not oppose a buffer zone around the back where the jury comes in, and said we won't oppose a silent buffer zone and hold signs peacefully and quietly. Perfect. That sounds good to me. I mean, that's a good argument. So basically, like Jason said when they came to the table here, we're not going to fight it to an entirely, but there has to be some kind of amendment here. And I just thought that, this is my projection before the trial, prediction I should say, was I felt that she was going to make that buffer zone more excessive than it was last year to knock us out of our comfort zone. Shout out to Mimi. Hope you're doing well. And that's exactly what happened. And thankfully, people like Jason and Allison, Samantha, and Lisa decided that they were going to make a stand, not only on behalf of themselves, but on behalf of all of Free Karen Reed. People like Tommy, CPU, one of the early casualties of this year's buffer zone, where they were giving him a hard time about recording. Bayo ended up getting arrested because of this buffer zone. It's been absurd, this new buffer zone, and the way that the state police have been enforcing it has been very excessive and unacceptable. And I'm hoping that this thing is amended. Hopefully no worse than the sidewalk or the road around the courthouse. But like I said, if it at least goes back to what it was last year, to some degree, that's a win, even though, obviously they should scale it right back. So we'll see what the judge does. It's in her court now, literally, for her to rule on. And we'll see what she ends up doing. All right. What else do I got for you guys before I talk about the Celtics? Yuri said that the investigation that Michael Proctor conducted was conducted with honor and integrity, which is an absolute charade. Boston Celtics are starting up soon. I see Tracy Morgan is in the crowd. The singer Sting's in the crowd. Eli Manning, boo, is in the crowd. Ben Stiller and his wife Christine Taylor in the crowd. Starting lineups for the Celtics are Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford. The Knicks are starting Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OJ Anunoby, Josh Hart, and Karl Anthony Towns. I'll get to the game in just a little bit here. I got my TV to the right over here. I'm going to let the first quarter I want to talk Karen Reed for a bit before I really delve into anything else. And let me just check while I'm doing this, let's just check the donations. I went ahead a donation here. We got, let's see. Let's see. I usually have a rule where I just count the donations, even if they say Mazza or not. Someone told me that. So I'm going to count this $100 one, and I'm going to count this $33 one, even though that $100 one might have been just made at random. All right, we'll say it's 174 right now, even though the $100 one never said Mazza, but someone told me once, just Just count it, damn it all. So I said, all right, I will. Now, the Goodmans gives me a donation of, a super chat. Says, go Celtics. Thank you so much. No, he said the investigation was conducted with honor and integrity quite a few times. Honor and integrity was what he said. That's how I heard it. I heard him say that quite a few times. It was done with honor and integrity. How many people believe that after Michael Proctor's texts and what he had to say about Karen? That was, and that's before the court. You know, they're going to get that information out before the court as well. And like I said, whether the defense has to call him instead of the prosecution, so be it. Get him on the stand, have him answer for what he did. And I thought that the defense did a great job of narrowing down on Yuri and other witnesses about Proctor and the fact that he's no longer with the Massachusetts State Police. Tip-off from Madison Square Garden is about to take off now. The Celtics are on. Let's do it, guys. Al Horford just jumped up a little bit. So, yeah, I'm not going to play the game. I'll be talking about the game, but if you want to watch the game, you'll have to turn on ABC or go on your local apps that have it available and play it from there. But I'll be watching the game here and talking about it while I stream and trying to raise some money for Karen Reed today. We're counting quite a bit of money here. We got donations up to $174 right now, which is fantastic. And that was great. Yeah, if it was conducted with honor and integrity, why has he been fired? That does not make any sense, Debbie says. Exactly. That's exactly how I look at it, too. Doesn't make much sense at all. That much is for sure. And so let's get up to the 2-0 lead. This is going to be a big game for them today. Obviously, the series is on the line. They have to win both games in New York City to undo the 2 losses that took place in Boston. The New York Knicks are wearing white today. The Celtics are wearing their classic green jerseys. Jalen Brunson goes for 2, misses, rebound, Jaylen Brown. All right, Celtics, let's go. All right, I don't usually pay too much attention to the first quarter of many basketball games because most of them usually are, usually so many first quarters are usually here and there and the way it goes. So we'll get to this in a little bit. So a tied up game right now. Knicks tie it up. New York sounds pumped up right now. They believe they got this series. All right, so let's talk about Turtle Boy versus John DePetro. Let's remove this. Let's present. This was a little bit of a content creator showdown between Turtle Boy and John DePetro that took place on the Registry of Deeds steps. This was on Thursday.
Are you supporting?
No, he's not playing Pink Panther music, is he?
She's not broadcasting it. I am. Be doing this. This is supposed to be the buffer zone. You're not supposed to be. Now, hold on. Listen, Turtle. All right. Do I have to get? You're not supposed to be doing this. This is supposed to be the buffer zone. You're not supposed to be doing this.
Doing what?
And on top of it, you're
You don't like when people ask questions?
Right now.
You ask Karen Reed questions.
I'm live read right now.
But, so you're allowed to ask questions, but I'm not?
Yeah, but she's not broadcasting and I am. So
No, I'm broadcasting.
Trooper. This individual to move along instead of interrupting. So
Aiden sneaks up on John, and he's immediately calling for the cops, like, "Police, help me, police."
So you can check that. It's actually a policy that you're not supposed to interrupt a broadcast.
So I've never heard of that policy before in my life, and I'm fairly sure that that's a policy that he might be either stretching or manifesting himself. I'd never heard of that before in my life.
So, all right, you can keep filming me like that. So, with your glasses. So, why don't you go tell them that you want them and their families to burn to death in their homes?
Oh, boy.
Okay, that is certainly the words of a domestic terrorist.
Oh, boy.
I don't want that.
Oh, not at all.
Listen, I asked you. You look at me to interrupt the broadcast. You go there and do that. I'm live right now, right? And he is coming over and interrupting broadcast. And I'm actually on the radio, and there's a policy that you're not supposed to interrupt someone doing a broadcast like this. So could you ask him to move along?
What is your point of being?
Well, I was just trying to ask him a question.
No, he's interrupting. You can wait till I'm done at 2 o'clock. You can wait till I'm done at 2 o'clock.
Am I not allowed to ask him a question?
No.
I mean, I'm trying to start it.
Yes, you are trying to start something. As he's filming.
Well, I'm not the one that got
You
the
wanna
police.
talk, I'll talk to you at 2 o'clock.
We don't want to make a big deal.
I definitely don't want to make a big deal.
You are going to make a big deal.
Well, okay, John. Yeah, okay.
Let me do my thing.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I'll get going. But I mean, what the heck, John? I mean, I'm just asking a
Why
question.
don't you go ask when someone's doing a live broadcast?
Because he asked Karen Reed the other day on the way into court. He asked her about OJ. Remember, you asked her about OJ. You go, was OJ framed?
Yes.
So he can ask questions to Karen Reed, but I can't ask questions to him.
She wasn't broadcasting.
That-
What part of that? I know that all your fans are down there.
Well, what law says that I can't ask a journalist? I can't ask a journalist. Okay, John, if you say so.
Oh my goodness! So this guy, I mean, he totally goes into a panic right off the bat.
Interrupting. So you can check that. It's
How much are they paying you to lie?
now hold on.
This guy has been among the worst people on Twitter and any form of content that's anti-Karen Reed that we have seen. He had a pretty big mouth about a lot of things last year and has been inciting. I mean, as you see the footage at the beginning there, he was yelling at Karen, calling her out. He called Aiden a domestic terrorist, which is a total lie, which is total nonsense. And again, it's just what's the issue here with why they get to call Aiden this? They get so intimidated by him. I've never seen so many people intimidated by Aiden. He simply walks up and talks to people, and then it's immediately, oh my goodness, it's Turtle. Oh my goodness, not Turtle Boy. Oh, call the cops. Calling the cops. I mean, I would say, why not stand your ground? Why not debate him? I mean, you're live on your own show. Why not have a live debate with Aiden and show your whole audience that you can out debate Aiden? Because you can't. So right in front of his own audience, he just goes, oh my goodness, it's Aiden. Oh my goodness, Aiden, get away from me. And that's it. He absolutely, is nothing but fearful of Aiden and afraid of Aiden and doesn't want anything to do with them. This is someone that likes to call people out and get in confrontations. And he's done this multiple times on his own channel. He's established on many videos that he's conducted that he'll go to people's homes in Rhode Island and do things that, nothing different than what Aiden would typically do, ask people questions. But yet when the questions are asked his way, like I said, it's a missed opportunity for him to maybe debate Aiden and have a spirited conversation and have this conversation. But it's just, this is just fearful behavior. He's scared out of his mind. It's, oh my goodness. At least Plevin or Kevin Lenahan, at least he was up for a debate with me and Brian LTL last year. At the very least, that guy could stand there and actually hold a conversation before the state police broke it up. This guy actually goes screaming for the cops. Police, help, police. It's like, stop it. You're acting like someone stole 2 apples off your fruit stand downtown, in the food market. It's like, just stop, stop making this out to be such a big deal. And just maybe have a spirited conversation. You're interrupting a live broadcast, which is just, the guy gets legalistic and argues. It's just, come on, just have a debate with Aiden. Aiden was looking for a conversation. You're live. Have Aiden on as a guest. Why not? Have a conversation. Why not? Instead of this, hands up. Listen, Turtle. Listen, Turtle. It's like, come on, stop it.
Listen, Turtle. All right. Do I have to you're not supposed to be doing this. This is supposed to be the buffer zone. You're not supposed to be doing this.
Doing what?
And on top of it, you're
You don't like when people ask questions?
Right now.
You ask Karen Reed questions.
I'm live read right now.
So you're allowed to ask questions, but I'm not?
Yeah,
He said he was live read because I'm live read right now.
not supposed to be doing this.
Doing what?
And on top of it, you're
You don't like when people ask questions?
Right now.
You ask Karen Reed questions.
I'm live read right now.
So you're allowed to ask questions, but I'm not?
Yeah, but she's not broadcasting and I am. So
No,
It's only a matter of time before JLR makes his way back to Dedham. We all know it's coming soon. JLR will be back soon. Guaranteed JLR will be back soon. There's no question about that. Oh my goodness. It's that's gonna be interesting to see when he returns. He might get in trouble in the buffer zone if he starts shouting down Karen, you know.
I'm broadcasting.
Trooper. This individual to move along instead of interrupting. So you can check that. It's actually a policy that you're not supposed to interrupt a broadcast. So, all right, you can keep filming me like that. So with your glasses. So
He takes a shot. He's wearing like pink heart glasses, and he had to take a shot at Aiden wearing those glasses. Like, with those glasses that you have, okay? It's policy. There are rules. There are regulations, and police, this guy. Yeah, this is the guy right here. It's just toughen up, especially when you're in this kind of line of work as a reporter, where you like to yell at Karen, you know, toughen up, stand your ground. He calls him Turtle.
Why don't you go tell them that you want them and their families to burn to death in their homes?
Then he starts, you know, he doesn't want to deal with Turtle at all. Yet he calls him Turtle sarcastically. He makes fun of his glasses. He starts talking about the fact that people should burn. Aiden wants people to burn, he said, apparently it presumes. And then he just calls him a domestic terror. He just starts hurling insults. This is all like after he knows that the police are on their way. So now that the police are making their way over, now he's like, okay, Aiden's confronted me. I'm scared for my mind. Let me call the cops over. And now that I know that the cops are coming over, let me just start making fun of Aiden's glasses and whatever I think about Aiden now while I have the reassurance that the cops are coming over. I mean, come on.
Okay, that is certainly the word.
There he is.
There
he is right
here.
You
can check that. It's actually a policy that you're not supposed to be doing this.
Doing what?
And on top of it, you're
You don't like when people ask questions?
Right now.
You ask Karen Reed questions.
I'm live read right now.
But, so you're allowed to ask questions, but I'm not?
Yeah, but she's not broadcasting and I am. So
no, I'm broadcasting.
So up until that point, he's trying to reason it out with Aiden. Where it happens, what's going on? He's trying to reason it out with Aiden here, which is like, okay, look, you can't interrupt me because, and already he looks over to see where the police are. He already looks over once. Where are the cops? Then he's reasoning with Aiden, looks over at the cops. Now he's going to call him out.
Trooper. This individual
to move along. Now the cops are over. Now watch, he's going to start hurling insults at Aiden. Now here it comes.
Instead of interrupting. So you can check that.
So here we go. Now all of a sudden, now that the cops are over, now I'm going to start taking it to Aiden.
Actually a policy that you're not supposed to interrupt a broadcast. So, all right, you can keep filming me like that. So with your glasses. So
he keeps checking over for the cops.
You go tell them that you want them and their families to burn to death in their homes.
So there's the insults. This is all after he knows that the cops are coming over.
Okay, that is certainly the words of a domestic terrorist.
Now he's calling him a domestic terrorist. So he didn't want any of Aiden, man for man, up until he knew the cops were coming over. Once the cops started coming over, he developed that wolf pack mentality, which is he knows backup's on its way. So now he's going to start like just spouting off.
Want that?
Yes, you do want that.
No, not at all.
Now listen, I've asked you 4 times, and you can look it up. You're not supposed to interrupt the broadcast.
So now he's going to start saying, things for the cops to hear. You can't interrupt the broadcast. It's just, come on, dude. Just come on.
You go over there and do that. I'm live right now, right? And he is coming over and interrupting broadcasts. And I'm actually...
Wait, he says it. He doesn't say he is coming over and interrupting my broadcast. He is coming over and interrupting a broadcast. That's funny as hell.
On the radio, and there's a policy that you're not supposed to.
Okay, I'm fairly sure that there's no policy against that. I'd like you to cite the policy. I tried to Google that, and I don't even think the AI in the Google search result had even given me any kind of information that suggested that is it. the live fundraiser is going on right now on this show. You can write Mazza in your donation to Karen Reed's Defense Fund to be counted. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. Last I checked, we're at about $174 raised for Karen today. And we'll see how that goes. The Celtics are up 17-10 right now, 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. I'm going to start watching this game a little bit more in just a few minutes here, and we'll continue on. So we shall see. Derek White for 3. Bingo. Celtics are up 10. Come on. The Celtics are outplaying them every single game. They're just going to maintain these leads and not go into shooting slumps. And they should be. Celtics are 4 for 4 from threes right now. All right, good. All right, let's play this through, and we'll get to the Celtics.
Interrupt someone doing a broadcast of this. So could you ask him to move along?
What is your point?
Well, I was just trying to ask him a question.
No, he's interrupting. You can wait till I'm done at 2 o'clock. You can wait till I'm done at 2 o'clock.
Am I not allowed to ask him a question?
No.
I mean, I'm trying to start it.
Yes, you are trying to start something. As he's filming.
Well, I'm not the one that got the police.
I'll talk to you at 2 o'clock.
We don't want to make a big deal.
I definitely don't want to make a big deal.
You are going to make a big deal.
Well, okay, John. Yeah, okay.
Let me do my thing.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I'll get going. But I mean, what the heck, John? I mean, I'm just asking you a
Why
question.
don't you go ask when someone's doing a live broadcast?
Because he asked Karen Reed the other day on the way into court. He asked her about OJ. Remember, you asked her about OJ. You go, was OJ framed?
Yes.
So he can ask questions to Karen Reed, but I can't ask questions to him.
She wasn't broadcasting. What part of that? I know that all your fans are down there.
Well, what law says that I can't ask a journalist? I can't ask a journalist. Okay, John, if you say so.
So that's that. That's our wonderful little back and forth between Aiden and John DePetro outside the courts on Thursday. That was definitely entertaining. So Celtics are up 20-12 right now, and they got the ball. And of course, Porzingis dribbles into traffic. It gets stolen. Peyton Pritchard up fakes, driving it in. Right hand layup off the left side of the glass is no good. Battle for the ball. Pritchard fights away from it, kicks it. Looks like a foul was called right there. All right, let's do this. Yeah, we interrupt this broadcast to announce that DePetro is a weasel. Yeah, that was crazy. All right, let's do this. Let's get the live score on the screen. So I'm not going to be playing the broadcast, but I will be talking about the game. I used to do this on my channel in the older years. Before I did Karen Reed stuff, I would talk about games live with my old panel. And we used to literally watch games live on, like, we used to do Thursday night shows, and we talk about the games live. I'm going to take my headset off here so my ears can have a little bit of a rest. But yeah, I'll have this score up. If you want to watch the game, you'll have to watch it on your television or whatnot. But the score will be there, and then the fundraiser will keep going as well. And then if anybody makes a donation, just let me know. I'm going to be checking it every so often, and then we'll get a report on where we're at. So the last donation was made by Lee and Eli Jones for $33 for the Celtics, Larry Bird. And, looks like we got some here. Oh, we got plenty. Oh, wow, we got a lot of them that came in. All right, so we got $10 from Monica Mitchell saying, we missed you, Mazza. We also know Karen is innocent. Keep kicking butt. Both of you facts. So we got a nice donation there. Let me get this updated. So $10 came in. All right. And then we got Tracy, you put in 20. Thank you, Tracy. She just simply said MazzaMedia. Thank you so much. All right. We'll get this. I'm going to move some of these tabs around here. Clear out some of my screen. 24-12 Celtics. I know, I'm worried about that too, Jen. Actually, I think I was in the Young Jerks chat the other night, and I had actually said that they were probably going to blow the lead again. Something, I'll be honest with you, the Celtics have outplayed the Knicks every single game for the majority of the game. They've had the lead for 81% of playing time between the first two games. And the only thing that is holding them back is their shooting ability. They're getting cold, they're missing shots, and the Knicks have not really outplayed them as much as the Knicks have just capitalized on scoring when the Celtics are missing shots. It's not like they're really, scoring excessively. The scores have not been that high, but it's just been it's been a situation where the Celtics have just struggled to shoot. And as a result, the Knicks have just casually come back in the game and won, which is shocking. You know, it's crazy that that's happening. And, you know, this is a team that's it's like the 2004 Red Sox. They were a really good team. And Mitchell Robinson misses a free throw. They were a really good team, but they were losing to a Yankees team that they should have been beating. And eventually they came back and won that series. So we got $20 from Tracy. I'll count that. All right. And then we got another $20 from Anonymous. I'll count that. And that says, don't know, MazzaMedia, keep fighting. And Bandy Goodman gave $50 to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. Said, keep coming back, Mazza. So that's $50. Add that. All right. And then we got $25 from Charlene. Mazza, great time had by all at the North Shore Nacho Night Bingo fundraiser last night. Timeout on the floor by the Knicks. We ain't got no quit. Big shout out to your team of lawyers who are doing an outstanding job. Must be to Karen. Okay, big shout out to your team, because I don't have a team of lawyers, who are doing an outstanding job. We won't stop fighting for justice until you're free. We've got you. Cheech, $25. All right, so our new total is $299. $299 right now for Karen Reed's Defense Fund has been raised on this show. So we're almost at $300 in about an hour, which is outstanding. So we'll talk the Celtics. If you guys have any questions or comments or points of discussion, let me know. I'll be here. Commercial break right now. Taco Bell. I had taco night. Yeah, the Indiana Fever. I got that game. Actually, no, I can't DVR that game. I couldn't find it because it's only on League Pass today. The Fever are definitely my women's team. The UConn women in college and then the Indiana Fever at the WNBA level are my teams. But they got chicken nuggets at Taco Bell now. That sounds pretty. Yeah, there's a lot of KFC Taco Bells that are combined nowadays. They're all run by, I think Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC are all run by the same people. It is pretty cool going. I haven't been to a KFC or a Taco Bell in a long time, but it is pretty cool that you can go into a restaurant that's kind of combined like that. And, you know, if you want tacos or you want chicken, have at it. I used to be a big Pacers fan when I was a kid in the 90s, the Reggie Miller years. I had the Reggie Miller jersey. I don't even know where I put it, but I had the Reggie Miller jersey, and I got that around 95. Right around the time he was beating up the Knicks pretty bad. It's 27-12 Celtics right now, by the way. This is a pouring on, but those were great years. Like the 94, 95 Pacers, the 98 Pacers. The 98 Pacers were incredible. They had Chris Mullin, and they had Dale Davis and Antonio Davis. They had Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, Travis Best, Jalen Rose. They were an awesome team. And the problem with the Pacers was that they were actually good enough to win the NBA championship in 98 and 2000, and probably even 2004 when they had Ron Artest and they had Jermaine O'Neal and Steven Jackson. But the problem is that every time the Pacers lost, they'd always lose to a really good team, like the 98 Bulls with Jordan and Pippen and Rodman, or the 2000 Lakers with Shaq and Kobe and Glenn Rice, or the 2004 Pistons, which were loaded with the Wallaces and Richard Hamilton and Chauncey Billups. And they had a lot of incredible teams. They're one of the best basketball teams in history that never won it, that had like a dozen different seasons where they could have won it all, and they just couldn't get it done. And to their credit, they lost to great teams. You know, when you lose to Jordan and Pippen, or you lose to Shaq and Kobe, those are great basketball teams. You know, and like you said, Sheed was really good. Ben Wallace was really good. There were a lot of good basketball teams out there. And I always thought Reggie Miller would get it done. I always did. But if they had Chris Mullin when he was a little bit younger, they might have had a better chance. I really, truly believe that. We are having people donate to Karen Reed's Defense Fund for today's show. Live fundraiser. We've raised $299. I will be on Brit Happens tomorrow night as well. That will be a fundraiser too. Celtics are back. Knicks with the ball. Just under 3 minutes to go. We're at $299 in funds right now donated. And Karl Anthony Towns is in the post. He's got Jason Tatum on him. Tries to hook it. Nothing. Rebound Celtics. So, I mean, the Celtics, again, they've controlled the pace throughout most of these games, but they have not gotten control over their shooting. And that's really the only reason why they're down 2-0. It's not really an issue of how they're playing overall. It's just their shooting and their shot selection has been the biggest issue. Towns with a nice two-hand jam inside on the left side. There's a lot of energy here in Madison Square Garden. It's a great place for basketball. No question about it. Jaylen Brown out there. So it's always got a good lineup out there. Jaylen Brown, Tatum, White, Porzingis, and Pritchard all out there for them. Sherry, what's going on? Jaylen Brown gets fouled, taking it in. This live score is keeping pretty consistent with time. It's a little bit delayed, but the time and the updates on the website are pretty good right now. John Starks was a great player. He was underrated. Him and Ewing. I actually thought the Knicks were going all the way in 94. I'm telling you, I was rooting for them in 94. Jordan was out of the league. He was playing baseball. And then you had Starks. You had Greg Anthony, Derek Harper, a whole bunch of other people, Charles Smith, a lot of good players on that team. And they ran into a Rockets team that was pretty much their equal with Hakeem Olajuwon, Kenny Smith, Robert Horry, Sam Cassell, Otis Thorpe. And it was a 7-game series. Yeah, Charles Oakley. And it was a real big, real tight series in 94. That was one of the best championships ever. That was the one with the O.J. Simpson. Hey, welcome to Jerks Raid. There was an O.J. Simpson police chase was going on during that NBA Finals, which was crazy. You know what I mean? That was absolutely crazy. Jerks Raid. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. We're doing a watch party right now. The attorney that Mike had on his show is very good. I liked a lot of his opinions and thoughts on everything as well. He did a great job. And it was another great attorney that was on the Young Jerks. Carl Steinberg, Breck, I think last night, or Berg. He was very good. And they all did a great job. So I opened the show up with a lot of Karen Reed stuff. Yeah, right. Yeah. So the in '94, I had rooted for the New York Rangers and the New York Knicks in both championships at the same time. And Mark Messier was one of my favorite players that wasn't a Bruin when I was a kid. And he and Brian Leach had an incredible series, and they played the Vancouver Canucks in that Stanley Cup. And I remember the Rangers won it all, and Mark Messier was in Madison Square Garden with the Stanley Cup trophy, hoisting it in the crowd, and the whole crowd went nuts. Peyton Pritchard for 3 is good. 32-16, 16-point lead for the Celtics. And the Celtics, once again, looking good. This is a fundraiser show, ladies and gentlemen. And we will have anyone that can make a donation to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. We're talking Celtics, and we're raising money for Karen today. I think everybody that's coming in from the Young Jerks, and Mike had a fantastic show last night, and a lot of great, another great show this afternoon. I caught quite a bit of it today. Al Horford in the post, Peyton Pritchard up fakes, behind the back dribbles, pass inside to Porzingis, and he's going up off the glass. He's going to get fouled by Mitchell Robinson. 32-18 is the score. Celtics have had 20-point leads in Game 1 and Game 2, but have ultimately lost. This time, they just can't get in that scoring slump. But for the most part, both games, the Celtics have outplayed the Knicks for the majority of the game. Very good New York crowd. New York's a very good baseball city and basketball city. A lot of passionate fans that load up Madison Square Garden for sure. Yeah, but the Knicks lost the finals, and the Knicks and the Rangers both could have won the Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals at the same time. It was that was an incredible thing. But they couldn't get it done the Knicks. They faced a tough Rockets team, and then the Rockets won it again the next year against Shaq and Penny Hardaway in a sweep of the Orlando Magic in 1995. Knicks are moving the ball here. Three-point shot is no good. Rebounding has been, in my opinion, very good for the Knicks in this series. I think that they have 94-95 finals, correct, Magic and Rockets. And then the Rockets won the 94 finals. And then, the 93-94 Rockets and the 94-95 Rockets. But they won the 94 finals and the 95 finals in the non-Michael Jordan years. Michael Jordan was actually back in 94-95, as we recall. But he wasn't really back to form. The Bulls didn't have Horace Grant. He was on the Magic. And it just took them some time to really get going. The 95-96 Bulls are one of the best basketball teams of all time. I watched almost every game I could that season. That was a great season for basketball, too. The 94-95 and 95-96, 96-97 seasons, maybe even 97-98, were probably 3 or 4 of my favorite NBA seasons as a whole. Celtics being good or not, it was just a great time for basketball in general. A lot of good rookies were coming up in those years. The 94 class had Grant Hill and Jason Kidd. 95 had can't remember. 96, though, was a great rookie class. Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash, Jermaine O'Neal, Antoine Walker, Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury. Grandmama was 92 class. He was out of LV, Las Vegas, and then he went to the Charlotte Hornets. And then the next year, the Hornets drafted Alonzo Mourning, and they got the Hornets got Larry Johnson in 92 and then Alonzo Mourning in 93, back-to-back drafts. And Alonzo Mourning was not the first pick in his draft because Shaquille O'Neal was the number 1 pick in the 93 draft. Edward says, did you notice the different colored soles on the shoes shown in court? The picture of the shoe found was black and the ones in court were white. I went back and took pictures. Yeah. You know what I'd like to know about that? And this is maybe for us on the internet to figure out is, were the shoes both right-footed shoes or left-footed shoes? That's what I wonder. I wonder if that's something to notice. Maybe he had 2 different style of shoes. Maybe the same style of shoes, but different color soles. I don't know, but that'd be rare. That'd be rare to wear shoes that were that differently colored like that, in my opinion. I would say that does not make a lot of sense that he'd have 2 different soles on his shoes. But what I can't figure out is why, if, for example, the soles of the shoes are different, is it because the shoes would have been bitten by Chloe that they would want to swap the shoes out to get rid of dog bites? That's the only reason I can possibly think of. This is not something I've really spent too much time thinking about. But it's been, someone said one looked brand new, clean. Yeah. That is interesting stuff. Very interesting. All right. Let's take a look here. I'm going to put this back up. Dino Raja was a good player for the Celtics in the mid-90s, too. Shout out to you, Chief. He said the sneakers look brand new and walk around snow all night. Then the ones being used were suspicious. All right, I'm going to step away for a minute, but I'm going to play microdots for you guys while I'm out.
Direction. Chris Albert says something to
I'll be back in a few
sister-in-law, Nicole, as she steps towards the door. Daughter Caitlin Albert is closest to the exit. Brian Albert enters frame right. Brian and Nicole continue. We see Higgins focused like a laser beam on John. And Chris Albert's attention has now shifted directly onto Higgins, appearing to sense what he is about to do. Higgins goes to raise his arm and shout to the victim, but before he can even bring it above his waist, Chris Albert aggressively grabs his forearm, preventing it from happening. The significance of Chris Albert's actions cannot be overstated. They reveal clear prior knowledge, an unmistakable anticipation of hostility directed towards John. There is simply no other valid way to explain how Chris would know what Higgins was about to do before he did it. I'm not suggesting anyone intended to kill John, only that there had to have been prior discussion, if not some form of coordinated plan to confront him. Now, we can operate under the assumption that these three men know something about John's future that we do not. Chris grabs Higgins by the arm, turning him back around to face him directly. This unexpected outburst from his brother catches Brian's attention. And Higgins, whipping his head toward Chris, seems just as taken aback by the sudden hostility as we are. Notice that Chris is grasping Higgins' shirt so tightly that you can see tension in the fabric. And as much tension on his face. Chris pushes Higgins' arm down to his side. He fixes him with a hard, unflinching stare. Chris releases his grip. Higgins turns his head toward Brian, deferring to his authority and seeking his approval. But Chris steps squarely in front of Higgins and puts both of his hands on him again. Higgins is rattled. Brian raises his palms facing upward, a universal gesture of confusion, questioning Chris's protest. Higgins continues to fix his gaze on John, peering over Chris's right shoulder. Meanwhile, Chris stands in a posture strikingly similar to that of a bouncer stepping in to defuse a confrontation. Higgins steps back and shifts his focus again to Chris, prompting Chris to release his grip on Higgins' left arm for the second time. Higgins stares blankly. The two men exchange a few words as Chris gestures towards the exit. Chris is trying to assert control over the situation. However, both men turn their attention to Brian Albert as he intervenes. Brian challenges Chris's position with his voice and body, causing Chris to throw up his arms in frustration. There's clearly a disagreement between the Albert brothers. It appears that Chris either disapproved of Higgins confronting John altogether, or he was uncomfortable with him doing it so publicly. I lean towards the latter. Ultimately, however, it is Brian who holds authority and makes the final decisions. Chris is overruled by his older brother. Higgins has the green light and is allowed to continue. Chris submits, but is still clearly on edge. As the brothers settle the matter with a few final words, Higgins presses on, shifting his focus back to John. Even with reduced resolution and a tight zoom, Higgins' agitation is unmistakable. He appears to be incensed, clearly gesturing, "Let's go." He briefly makes eye contact with Brian Albert, puts his hand to his forehead. Chris guides Higgins towards the door, touching his back, using his body as a physical barrier. But Higgins isn't done. Chris watches him closely. Higgins remains preoccupied with John, while Chris maintains a stance resembling someone preventing a confrontation. Pay close attention to the next sequence of frames. You'll see Chris appear to say something to Higgins, likely a command such as "go" or "okay." In response, Higgins shows clear defiance, stepping past Chris and openly calling out to John in full view of everyone. Here we go. Chris speaks and puts his hand on Higgins' back to guide him out for the second time. Now, Higgins will react defiantly, ignore Chris, step past him, and attempt to get John's attention vocally and by waving and pointing. Higgins defies Chris's instruction to get going. Chris is not happy with this. His stare is ice cold and locked on Higgins. Higgins sidesteps Chris and is animated. Then Chris turns to look at John to see what his reaction is. But John, still dealing with paying his tab, has seen nothing. Not yet.
And you didn't say goodbye to John, right?
I don't think I said goodbye to anybody.
And you didn't talk to him about coming over to 34th Fairview.
No.
Neither Brian Higgins, Chris Albert, or Brian Albert ever acknowledged what we are seeing with our own eyes. Now, picking up exactly where we left off, there's a few things that happen worth pointing out. First, we'll focus on Higgins. Let's watch it at normal speed, then take it frame by frame. And we'll sync it with a close-up of John to gauge his reaction. Now is a crucial moment to remind you, it's 11:58 p.m. In about 30 minutes, John will be fatally injured. Cue the tape. In 3, 2, 1. Let's watch it again, slow it down, and look a wee bit closer. Higgins is desperately trying to get John's attention, but John still has his back turned. By the time John turns to look, Higgins has shifted his gaze to Brian Albert, likely pointing at Brian while telling John to go to his home at 34 Fairview Road. Then, as Higgins turns back toward John, he sees that John has already looked away, prompting Higgins to abort the next hand gesture he was just about to make. Higgins looks and sees members of the band carrying equipment out, then steps back to give them space to pass. Then he finally makes direct eye contact with John. He points outside, telling John to come to Brian Albert's home. His posture. John says something back to him, then glances over to Matt, who seems to have also witnessed the interaction. Consider how determined Higgins was to deliver the message to John. He endured a tense confrontation with Chris Albert, made multiple unsuccessful attempts to catch John's attention, and deliberately lingered behind.
Jeez, I've been on mute. Thanks, guys. We're at $558 right now. I'm pulling a mic. I saw Mike in the chat and figured I'd imitate him with the muted talking. $558 in donations right now have come in during the show. So great job, everybody. Excellent, excellent.
The rest of his group, refusing to leave until he was absolutely certain the message had been received. Karen and Karina were so deeply engaged in conversation that they remained completely unaware of everything that had just unfolded around them. John is smiling. Whatever message Higgins was trying to send, it clearly didn't land with the weight he intended. John appears relaxed and confident, an important detail, as this reflects his mindset just before he would enter 34 Fairview Road. John leans over to Matt, who is just out of view, likely making another comment about the outburst. Then appears to say something about it to Chris Albert and Jen McCabe, before he is interrupted by the bartender to sign the check. In exactly 22 minutes, sent from the crime scene, Higgins texts John a message that, viewed in context, takes on a sinister tone. That text, combined with the footage we've just reviewed, should have made Brian Higgins the primary suspect of John's murder. We've established that Brian Higgins and Chris Albert seemed to have prior knowledge of a confrontation with John. But for that to be true, we would expect to see some evidence of it earlier in the night. Now, we will rewind the tape 9 minutes to find just that.
Larry Johnson's at the game. Larry Johnson, Stephon Marbury, some former Knicks, Bernard King from the 80s. Oh, some classic Knicks at the game there. Allen Houston, he was a great Knick. Patrick Ewing, talk about a great Knick. The best Knick of all time, in my opinion. Never won a title, but he was a great player. A lot of classic players.
It's getting late and the bar will be closed.
Elena, you asked my opinion about. I just follow up with a more specific question. I'll answer it for you in a few moments. I'll be on the lookout for your question.
Closing soon. John is standing here with Karen, who has her back facing us. They are speaking to Jen McCabe. Brian Albert and Brian Higgins are standing here and appear relaxed. Roll the film, please. Chris Albert approaches Brian and Higgins. Everything seems normal at first. They smirk. The three men's body language changes. They speak closely and glance towards John and Karen. Chris looks directly at them. Then he pivots back, engaging in conversation with more discretion than before.
Celtics just knocked down a huge three. Peyton Pritchard. It's 47-25 in the third consecutive game where the Celtics have a 20-point lead. Wow. What do I okay, thank you, Elena. So Elena says, what do I think about what I'm seeing in this video? Well, I'll tell you, I mean, this is evidence that's more definitive than anything they can say about Karen in terms of confrontation or hostility with John on that night. There was never any level or physical hostility shown between Karen and John on video that night. And plus, I think her voicemails can be justified as being frustrated. With Brian, it appears as a physical confrontation where you say, almost looks like you're saying, come outside, I'll see you outside, come outside. So, like I said, you still can't go, like, I can't sit there and say, well, so-and-so killed him. I can't say that. But I can say it definitely looks like Karen Reed didn't do it. That there's definitely justifiable cause to suggest that either a person or persons inside that house did it. That I can definitely suggest, but it could be one of those situations where you think the person that's getting into it couldn't have been him. Maybe there was a confrontation in the house and someone else jumped in and was the one that dealt the blows to John. That could always be a possibility too. You just never know. But anything could have happened. But I can tell you, it makes a good case that Karen didn't do anything. I'll tell you that much.
Chris leans in to listen to Brian. Chris gestures towards them with his hand. They become more excited. Brian whispers into Chris's ear. There's no way to know exactly what these three men were discussing. However, their body language is consistent with precisely the kind of interaction one might expect to precede Brian Higgins' taunting just 9 minutes later.
Wendy, it's not football or baseball, it's basketball. I know you're from the UK, it's basketball.
It's
47-30 Celtics right now.
11:30. The man at the center of your screen is one Brian Higgins. The surveillance camera detects the infrared light emitted by his iPhone's true depth camera, which is used for Face ID. This is Officer John O'Keefe. He would be nearly dead in about 1 hour, sustaining fatal injuries that the most credentialed experts determined were not from a vehicle. Across the table is Karen Reed. She is the girlfriend of John O'Keefe, and also the woman that Brian Higgins has been obsessed with for weeks up until this point. However, she had cut off communication with him roughly a week earlier and has completely ignored his presence since arriving at the bar.
Say hello, shake your hand, give you a hug.
No, she did not.
No, she didn't do any of those things, did she?
No.
It was like you didn't even exist.
Both Brian Higgins and Brian Albert have been drinking all day long.
And just a reminder of the show, we're conducting a live fundraiser today. If you write Mazza in your donation message, go to Karen Reed's Defense Fund link to make that donation and write Mazza. That link is pinned to the top of your chat. We have raised on this show $558 for Karen Reed's Defense Fund. Great job, everybody. And if you're here and able to make a donation, again, go to the link pinned to the top of the chat to make your donation and write Mazza in your payment or donation comment to the link to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. Thank you so much. We'll continue raising money and continue with the video. Celtics are in the lead as well. They better not blow it, damn it.
Karen. She is standing here. In 1 minute and 35 seconds, he will finally break down and text her. Leading up to that moment, we'll see him look in her direction at least 3 times. 1. 2. 3. At 11:32, the weight of Karen's indifference becomes unbearable. He gives in to temptation. In a whiskey-fueled haze, he removes his phone from the front pocket of his sweatshirt, composing a juvenile message designed to nudge her into interacting with him. It doesn't matter that John O'Keefe is standing right there, a few feet away from him. Higgins is determined to get attention from Karen.
Maybe this question's for the guys, but have you guys ever texted a woman that was 3 feet away from you instead of just walking up and asking her or talking to her directly? I've just never done something like that, and I never heard of anybody ever doing something like that instead of just texting someone that's feet away, as opposed to just talking to them. It just, I don't know, it seems like a little bit of a rare way to conduct yourself. That's all.
Whatever the consequences may be, from this point forward, Higgins can be seen frequently checking his phone, presumably awaiting Karen's response. But that response would never come, short and anger. At 10:54, Karen and John enter the bar. On the surface, everything appears normal, but there are already subtle signs foreshadowing the darkness this night is destined to bring. Brian Albert leans closely into Higgins to make a comment, seemingly about Karen, since she's standing right there and just walked in. Then Higgins glances at John. He comments to Brian. And Brian leans back in to say something in return. Higgins shakes his head and laughs. Higgins points to Brian, requesting to step away for a private word.
Celtics up 49-30 right now. Yeah, good point. Maybe drunk people do. Good point. Oh, that's a good point. Maybe people are drunk or something. Or
Higgins
intoxicated.
signals. Over here. Not even Brian's wife.
Yes, Marissa, we are playing Microdots footage right now. That is correct.
Cole should hear this. Higgins leans in very closely to Brian's ear. What subject matter requires this level of secrecy? The discussion continues. They seem very excited and animated.
If I'm the defense, if the prosecution calls Higgins, I'm crossing him on all this. And if he's not called by the prosecution, then I'm direct examining him. 49-33 Celtics. Celtics got the ball, 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks has 9 points. Pretty solid game there.
Higgins looks at Karen. Repeatedly. He can't
Jason Tatum for 3. Celtics up 52-33.
seem to stop himself from watching her. Meanwhile, John appears to be oblivious to whatever is developing around him. The two men touch hands in agreement. Higgins taps Brian's arm, requesting he step away once again to discuss something sensitive.
Celtics are rolling 55-33. 3-pointer by the Celtics again. Yes. Yeah, it's on the Microdots channel, this video.
And back to the corner they go. Higgins asks questions. And Brian gives answers.
All right, we'll stop that. Share. All right, I'll present the score. Celtics are rolling right now. They are up 25 points. I guess you can't lose a game by blowing a 20-point lead if you get a lead that's actually higher than 20 points. So I guess maybe that's the message for the Celtics today as they play here. So 55-34. Let me refresh this page. Not refreshed. There we go. There we go. Now it's refreshed. Yeah. It's a chilling video to watch, especially when you're of the belief that Karen didn't kill John. You see just a lot of things going on there. Of course, you can never tell what's just general conversation amongst those gentlemen or if it's a meditated moment. But whatever is said, it's obviously very alarming that it's clear to me that there's a confrontation, between two people, and then John and Brian Higgins are two of them. But it's just, like I said, it's very alarming. 57-35 Celtics, 3:48 to go. Super chat just came in from Norman Corey. Mazza, thank you for being Mazza. I know I speak for everyone in the chat. Thank you, Norman, for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just doing what I can to be myself, I guess. I enjoy, hosting shows again. I definitely miss doing the shows. That's for sure. 20-point lead for the Celtics again. Yeah, it's good to be back. This is my second show back hosting. I'll probably be on the 3Ms again soon. Mike had a very good show last night with Carl Steinbreck and Mark Betterow, two attorneys, which was a pretty great panel to listen to. And that was definitely good. My only concern is I love Mark's breakdown of how Karen Reid's defense team is doing. The only thing that bothers me right now about this trial is I'm concerned that Jalen Brunson just knocked down a 3, 57-40. I'm just concerned that there's going to be jury tampering again, or something's going to cause another mistrial. And looks like the screen's actually ahead of us here. Okay, there's the 3 by Tatum. Okay, it said 60-40, but my screen said 57-40. But yeah, I'm worried about jury tampering. I'm worried about Karen Reid being acquitted on charges, but not all of them. And if she's not acquitted on all charges, are they going to try to make this thing go to a third trial? So it's like I'm kind of the belief that even though this trial could end successfully for the defense, and that's what we've seen. I mean, the defense is doing a great job. They are. But I'm concerned that something's going to happen that doesn't allow Karen to walk out the door. I'm not saying she's going to be convicted. I don't believe she'll ever be convicted of this. But I am concerned that they're going to prevent her from being acquitted, like last time. And I don't feel like any of us want to be back here a year from now dealing with this all over again. We kind of want this all to end for Karen. And, it's to the point where, I mean, it's just most people would be like, well, even if the people that got away with it for the time being, fine. Well, let's just let Karen not get blamed for something she didn't do, person or people that might have done something to kill John. But I just want Karen to be able to move on, and Karen's family to be able to move on. Her parents are spending enough time in this courtroom. It's kind of sickening, quite honestly. And it's really too bad. It's really too bad what's been going on and what they've had to endure. And it needs to stop. And to quote Michael Morrissey, it needs to stop. It needs to stop that Karen deals with all this. And she needs to move on with her. She needs to be able to move on with her life. And that's that. Those are my thoughts. But yeah, it's good to do shows again. It's good to be back on live. And if it's another mistrial, at this point, I'm of the belief, Lucy asks, I'm of the belief that they're just going to try to force this thing for a third trial. And the reason why I say that is that they've shown no stop. They themselves have shown no quit, right? They've shown no quit in fighting to put this on Karen, pin it on the girl. So I'd have to be of the belief that if they tried her twice, nice 3 by Orford right there, 63-42. I'd have to imagine that they're going to try to do it again. That's what I think. I would say until we get to the end of this trial and we see if Karen's actually acquitted, I'm going to have a level of skepticism. And if Karen is not acquitted, Tatum for 2, got it. Until she's actually acquitted of everything, I'm not going to be sure if they're not going to try her a third time. And will Bev be the judge in the third trial? Yeah, we know that she was not in the rotation to be the judge for this trial, but somehow she got back in. So I'd say the same thing with all my other answers, that I'd probably say you can bet that she probably would be the judge the third time. She'd probably try to do it, because we thought Beverly Cannoni, even at one point, she was believed to have been officially out, and then she was back in again. So that's another basket there. But I saw like 67-44. They are rolling. You have to, like I said, I'm considering, like I'm watching this entire trial right now with a minute left in the second quarter. I'm watching this entire trial right now of the belief that this thing could end in controversy again. And I'm not going to believe that it's not going to end in controversy until it finally ends not in controversy. You know what I mean? So it's until we actually see that this trial ends in anything but controversy, then I'm going to be of the belief that it's going to, until I'm proven wrong. Because we all thought a year ago this whole thing was going to end cleanly, and it didn't. And it ended up being a disaster. And it ended up, getting fought at the appellate level and multiple other levels. And Karen's done everything she can. Her defense team's done everything they can. Brown for 3. Bingo. Yes. 70-46. Yes. 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 Let's go Celtics. All right. 23 seconds to go. Let's get one more possession. 20 seconds. I'm just going to watch the rest of this. I'll talk about the judge in a second. Celtics are going to wind the clock for a final possession. It's in Tatum's hands now. Brown's hands, with Karl Anthony Towns guarding him. Left side wing. ISO here. Jaylen Brown taking it in. He got it. Missed it, but he's going for the free throw line for 2 fouls, and another foul called on Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, another half to go. Exactly. Something tells me the Celtics are not going to blow this series, though. I think they just had a bad start. But I mean, if the Celtics in a week or two from now come back and win this series, I'm not going to be shocked. That was good to get that foul on Towns. I actually like how Tatum gave the ball to Brown to get the isolation on Towns, to drive on Towns, to try to get a foul on him. That was a smart drive. Get as many fouls on the bigs on the Knicks as you can. Free throws coming up. Jaylen Brown's first attempt is a miss. I used to coach kids in my younger years when I was a college kid, and I always used to tell them, I know you want to try to make both free throws, but whatever you do not miss both free throws. Always try to make one free throw. Oh, Nurse Kim gave me a big shout out. That's awesome. Someone goes, "Yay, sports ball, go team." Listen, Turtle's the name of that channel. That's funny. Listen, Turtle. Listen, Turtle. Listen, Turtle. All right, second free throw here. Oh, it looks like he made it because it's saying it on the screen right there, 71. And that's good. All right. 3 seconds to go. The Knicks are going to try to Grant Hill to Christian Laettner this thing here to Towns. He's going to turn around for three. Misses. No foul. And it looks like they might have called a foul on Drew Holiday. Nope, they're going to say that's the half. And Towns is fighting for a foul, but they're going to send both teams to the locker room. Celtics are shooting. The Celtics shot only 19 threes compared to 50 or 60 in the first two games. That's really good. Yeah, Towns got that shot off, but the foul might be debated by both teams here in the opposite direction of what happened. So, okay, good. Celtics are up. All right, let's remove this for now. Let's put me up on screen. Fundraiser. Thank you, Nunya. Fundraiser's going on right now. We've raised $558 for Karen Reed. And let's refresh this screen. Let's see if anything. Marjorie gave $99 to Karen's defense. And we got Leslie put in 20. So we're going to count that. A lot of times people forget to put Mazza, so we're just going to count them. So $578. We are $78 over 500. We're $22 away from 600. So let's, if anybody can make a donation at Karen Reed's Defense Fund, that link is pinned to the top of your chat. Let's talk some Karen Reed case during halftime here. So let's talk about the judge some more, right? So let's talk about hypotheticals. Hypotheticals right now is that I have grave concerns. Okay, I have grave concerns that this trial will end in controversy. All right, I have grave concerns because, again, what we learned the first time. And I don't want to sit here all trial long and be like, okay, it's going to end well this time. I do believe it's going to end well this time. I do believe Karen Reed's going to get acquitted on at least 2 charges. And this time, hopefully, if it's only 1 charge to go, there may be a third trial or a drop altogether. I don't know. But I do feel more confident. Now, last year, we all felt pretty confident that this was going to end well for Karen. We kind of felt that the jury would deliberate for a while. There would be an outcome that was positive for Karen. And then, a lot of us thought that the jury was going to deliberate for a few hours and it was all going to be over. And that was evidenced by myself and so many others that were outside that courtroom in June of last year. And I remember making a comment that I said, they might not even come out with the verdict today, and it could go on for a few more days, and this thing could end in July. And a woman said to me outside, we were around the field, the rectangular field that's the church property. She goes, go into July. Come on, Mazza, don't tell me that. And I said, no, I'm serious. This thing could go into July. And at the time, I was hoping it would just end that day in June, but it ended up going for a couple more days. And ultimately, it was not a matter of being into July, but how many days into July was this going to go? And sure enough, we were all back there, and a couple more days went by, and I was working and not out there. And then I decided to take a day off, and it happened to be the day where it all ended that I took. And I was out there. Please go to use the link that's pinned to the top of the chat. Do you want donations to that Quinn link or here using Mazza as an okay, then she gives me some recommendations about give positive energy, not negative energy. But yeah, you want to put energy, you want to click the link. And then go ahead and put Mazza in your donation. So I don't think this is a matter of positive or negative energy, quite honestly, Madera. I truly think that's okay. You're free to have no problem. But no problem. I'm not upset. I'm just saying that I'm not it's not for me, not a positive or negative thing, but I also think that if I'm positive to a point, right? If I say like, it's going to end this time, it's going to end this time, it's absolutely going to end this time, then I'm manifesting an expectation that it's going to end well. And if it doesn't end well, then my positive energy is no good either. So it's not a matter of positive or negative. It's a matter of measured energy. And I know, Madara, you're not trying to give me a hard time. I know that for sure. And I'm not asking nobody in the chat, don't give her a hard time. But I'm just saying that I have it's skepticism. I have a measured approach. I have a suspicious state of alertness to be alert for this because, like many, I expected a positive outcome last time, and then it ended controversially, and it shouldn't have ended that way. At the very least, and I've said this before, and many others have probably shared this opinion, 2 of the 3 charges should have, at the very least, been dropped as a result of the first trial. Karen Reed's defense team. Definitely Lucy. Karen Reed's defense team should have, at the very least, been able to get 2 of those 3 charges dropped for Karen, but then they tried to fight it at higher courts, and then those higher courts would kick it back, and it was very frustrating for all of us, and especially Karen Reed, her defense team, and family, and closest friends, to not have those charges thrown out, which was unfortunate. Thank you for your $100 donation to the thing. I'll get that counted up. Madera says, I'm just saying because folks are easily swayed by social media. I mean, the ones that don't do their own due diligence. Donated 100. Thank you for that. I'm not sure what happened to Sean on the golf. I know he was online there a couple months ago, and then he took his videos down. I don't know what happened there. But like I said, I'm gonna see it, believe it type of mentality. Where I had great expectations during the first trial, and this time see it, believe it. See what the verdicts are, see what gets thrown out, see what ends up happening. And then as a result, hope and pray for the best. And I think that's what we can do, is hope and pray and support Karen to the best of our abilities. But again, at the end of the day, there's some powerful people out there that are doing pretty powerful things to keep Karen down and hold Karen down and all that. And we'll see how it goes. $100 donation is going to be counted now by Madera for Karen Reed's fund. That gets it to $678. We are $322 away from 1,000. Let's give a shout out to Lucy Elaine's husband. It is his birthday today. It's also my cat's birthday today. It's also one of my good friends' birthdays today as well. That lives a couple states over for me. But happy birthday to my buddy Kevin, and also happy birthday to my cat, and happy birthday to Lucy Elaine's husband. Happy birthday. We'll have a bunch of waiters and waitresses arrive at your house clapping and singing happy birthday and giving you a cake. I got to get some Mother's Day stuff, and I got to get my mother a card, and I got to get some kind of dessert. I think I'm going to cook dinner. We, as a family, used to do Mother's Day dinner at a restaurant, and it was the very last year my grandmother was alive, and it was Mother's Day 06. She passed away 5 months later. And so my grandfather got this idea that he wanted to take the family out. My mother, my aunt, my grandmother, all out for dinner and all that. Thank you, Patricia, for the happy birthday for my guys. So we all went out to dinner at this restaurant that's no longer in business. And thank you, Plot Twist Ending, for the super chat. You said how? How what? But thank you for the super chat. We went out to dinner. So my grandpa was like, how do I think the trial is going? Very good for the defense. I think it's going very good for the defense. And the defense is winning just like last trial, winning every witness. I actually think, here's the thing. I do believe Hank Brennan's a better prosecutor than Adam Lally without question. I just think that the defense compared to last year is even better, because I think that the defense has tightened up a lot. I also think they learned some things, and I'm not talking about experience things, but just such as the Waterfall video that we just played in this show. They've adapted a lot to that and have had the ability to kind of hone in exactly on their approach and tailored things more to the witnesses compared to last year. And I think that the defense is about 1,000 times better than they were last time around. That is for sure. No question about that. So let's say this. So Mother's Day. Hope that answered your question as well. Thank you for the super chat again. Yeah, having Alessi is huge. I think that's a huge part as well. this is, I mean, this could have been a 5-attorney job with Mark Betterow with Robert Alessi too, because there's just so much out there that needs to be done and worked on. And I think the thing is, with so much data and details, you can, it's too much for one mind to remember all the details. They are questions you should ask every single witness, or prepare yourself to ask these questions. And when it's spread out more, it's a lot easier for someone like Robert. You know, you say, Robert Alessi, you're going to deal with 5 cross-examinations. You know, perfect. That's 5 less as a whole that David Unetti, Eliza Little, or Alan Jackson have to do. If he does 5 of them, at least 5, that's huge, because now Alessi can sit there in his corner of the office and prepare. And that's better for the defense, because he can go over more data. When the more attorneys you have, the more you can spread yourselves, and the less workload you have to take. Thank you, Tina. The less workload you have to take on, and you can just hone in and crunch more data, and as a result, you're more prepared. You know, and I think that's huge. And that's why not having a Mark Betterow was a horrible thing, but at least Mark's on the shows. Yeah, so Mother's Day 06. My grandfather passed away not too long after my grandmother, but we went out for dinner, and it was a restaurant that's no longer in business. And we go out, and at the same day, it's a clammy, cold, stormy, rainy, thunder and lightning Mother's Day, and the power goes down in the restaurant. And my uncle is no blood relation, is drinking heavily. And the whole restaurant turns on all the customers start turning on the restaurant because they're trying to do what they can. The power's gone out. They're trying to serve food. 2 hours go by. People in the restaurant may be diabetic and are low on blood sugar. So it turns into a catastrophe at this restaurant. This is a restaurant at this point that has a very great reputation. My grandmother's retirement party a decade or so more before that was great. And the whole restaurant is just people hungry, hangry, a restaurant staff that I would say is solid but not great. A restaurant that's solid but not great. And just everything went haywire in this restaurant this day. This was the most memorable Mother's Day of all time. And of course, my uncle, no blood relation, is not in any way supportive of the restaurant staff and their frustration. And shows them no patience and starts shooting off his mouth, and made a waitress cry. And we actually all apologized on behalf of him for that. And just all hell broke loose with other customers too. And people started to walk out, and it was just nuts. So that was the end of Mother's Day dinners at a restaurant in our family. So we're like, we'll just do our own thing. We'll cook from now on. It was just and getting reservations. I think there was another year when I was a kid. My dad used to take us out for dinner every Mother's Day. My mom, our whole family out for Mother's Day dinner. And we used to go to this restaurant like every week on Sundays, or every other, at least twice a month on a Sunday. We'd go out to this one restaurant. And so we leave like the week before, 2 weeks before, and the guy never tells us that reservations are needed. So we go walking in on that Sunday, which was Mother's Day. And the guy's like, you got to have a reservation. My dad's like, why didn't you tell me last week when we were here? And he's like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, it would have been nice. And so that was like a Mother's Day mishap. And I don't think we ever went back to that restaurant again. It was like, you couldn't have told us, like, we're weekly customers. Then that restaurant, like the other one, ended up going out of business too. These are restaurants that didn't stand the test of time. Let's see, the fundraising overall, but yeah, those are Mother's Day restaurant stories. It's always like Mother's Day that those restaurant stories I have take place. The total right now is $956,834, and we got donation. There's other donations that are coming in here. Is there a Trish in the comments here that made a $100 donation? I usually just count them, but we're almost at 957,000. We're closing in on that as a Karen Reed supporter movement. There was $100 that just came in from a Trish, but it doesn't say Mazza, but it does say from Madeira. So I think that's our Madeira. that I already counted. Let me double check. Yeah, okay, that is, I think that's Madera from our chat. Okay. And $10, I see in the comment there, I just see this too. $10. MazzaMedia fundraiser. Karen, you're so incredibly strong. How you keep your composure is amazing. Love all your lawyers, and it's only a time now until you're free. You have a lot of class and have a lot of feistiness. Love your parents, Nate, and your other sister. You are blessed. We'll put the $10 on. All right. That gets us up to $688. Now, Madera, I believe, was in our chat. So she said she put in 100. So that answers that $100. Yes, that's her. Okay, Madera confirms that's her. Oh, a second donation. Well, thank you so much for your donation to Karen. All right, we'll put you in again. All right, $788 with $200 in donations. Kristen Pino, I believe I counted yours already. Let's see. If it was made a few minutes ago, yeah, if you're Leslie, Kristen, if you posted as Leslie $20, I counted that. And a $24.90. I'm not seeing that $24.90. I don't see that $24.90 donation in the Karen Reed. That's on the Karen Reed Defense Fund. I'm not seeing that. I don't see that on the Karen Reed donation page. I'm going to drop the link in the chat again. But I saw a series of $20 donations, though, that I've counted. I've counted at least 3 $20 donations throughout the course of this. We are at $788. Thank you, Debbie, for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be on Bert Happens tomorrow night, probably after 7 o'clock. Celtics are coming back here second half. We'll see if we can hit $1,000. And Madera, thank you for your $200 to Karen Reed's donation. Chrissy's mom just put in 20. I'll see if these I've already counted quite a bit. We'll see here. And I think I got everybody counted right up through the Trish donation. I got everyone that says Mazza counted. For the Celtics are back, 71-46. We'll put up the Celtics stream here. There we are. We'll put that back on the screen. Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of times your donation may not go through. So every time it asks for your email, so let's just hit a 3 too, 74-46. If you're having trouble, your donation doesn't go through, you have to say no when they show your email. So right, every time you make a donation, you have to select a new email address. That happened to me once. I was trying to make a donation and it wouldn't go through. So sometimes you might think it's going, but it's not. So if you so go back to the page and check the comments. If you don't see your donation there, then it didn't go through. So just check the right hand side. 1 second. So what you have to do is if you don't see your donation here and under recent donations, then and you just click read more. And if you don't see it there, then you're going to have to redo it. So that's what's going to end up, that will tell you if yours went through. And always refresh the page too, just to make sure, see if your donation went in. So that's what you're going to need to do to double check. So 25 from Amy just came in. I'll count that. And that's how it works. So again, when it says to select your email, select the one that, don't select the one that's previously there. Do select to add a new email is the best way to do that. All right, perfect. 74-47 Celtics. I'm going to count a $25 donation that just came in as well. All right, that's going to get us over $800 on this stream. That is phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal right now. $66 just came in as well. Get that counted. That gets us to $879. That is amazing. We're going to definitely hit $1,000 during. Oh, Drew Holiday for 3. Celtics are winning right now, 77-88. They're leading. I I've counted, all I can say is I've counted every donation that's come through that's listed on the page. That's all I can speak to. So everything that says Mazza, I've counted for. All right, let's get this back up. Perfect. We're doing a great job, guys. Almost $1,000. But yes, Jen, I've counted every single one I've seen on that page. So if yours went through and was made before that $66 donation by Anonymous, then I've counted that towards the total for you. And $40 just came in by Anonymous as well. That's another huge donation. That's $919 now in donations right now. Oh, you did perfect. Yeah, you should. And then I counted you for sure. And then ID's Delight, I think I got you as well. I got a couple $10 that came in as well. So we're looking good here, folks. $919. Celtics are winning. We're almost at $1,000 donated. I think the Celtics are looking good right now. 79 points to the Knicks 48. The Knicks have not got to 50 points so far. So this is good. Celtics, they need to hold the lead today. And again, the Celtics have been outplaying the Knicks every game. It's just been their shooting that's been it's been their shooting that's hurt them the most. The Knicks finally get to the 50 point mark. Yes, Jen, you'll have to check the page. So just check the page for your check the page for donations. Yeah, I am a multitasker. Jaylen Brown's a pump fake from 3, shoot the 3, miss it, and out of bounds. Going to be the Knicks ball there. 79-50, that's a good score. Yeah, turnovers have been a bit of an issue for the Celtics, but I don't think the turnovers have been anywhere excessive compared to excessive enough to a point where it would have a strong bearing on the outcome of the game. And I'll check the I see another $20 was just reported by DJ4303. I'll check that at the next commercial break here. But yeah, I don't think thank you for that donation. I don't think the turnovers and even to some degree getting out rebounding is enough to necessarily dictate them losing. But to me, it's just been all that shooting and the shooting lapses. It's 79-52. Knicks get the ball back. Jalen Brunson's going to kick it back to Josh Hart. Kicks it to Towns. He's going to fire up a 3, forced. Spins in and out. Rolls in and out. Rebounded by Jason Tatum. Powers the ball down the court with a pass to Jaylen Brown. He's got a one-on-one with Towns here. He's going to settle for a 3. Front rim, back rim that. Rebounded next. I just think the Celtics are settling. Yeah, 45 missed threes in game 1. They're settling for too many threes. Even on that possession just there, Jaylen Brown had the corner possession of the ball in the corner with Towns on him, and he just settles for that instead of maybe working the ball around and trying to find a better shot. And that's been one of the biggest issues for this team. Oh, let's go. Lucy, your son's a Knicks fan. The Knicks got a great team. They have a lot of good players. This has been one of the best Knicks teams probably since Jeremy Lin and Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire were on the Knicks quite a few years ago. Josh Hart, easy dunk in the paint. Celtics are going to call a timeout. So that lead has gone down to 25, and the Celtics are struggling in the past couple of minutes at least. But yeah, I think settling for shots has been their biggest issue instead of trying to get good baskets. Yeah, the missed threes has been a huge issue for quite a bit of time. All right, I'll take a look at the donations. So the last one I counted was a $40 donation that said Mazza free Karen Reed. We're over the $957,105 mark. And we have a bunch of payments, donations to Karen just came in. $20 from Doris, $10 from Kim, and $10 from Anonymous. Someone said, glad to have you back, Mazza. Much love and support to Karen and her amazing team. So we got 20, 10, and 10. I'll count those. 20, 10, and 10. All right, there we go. All right, I'm going to show off my little graph here, too, in the meantime. All right. Tell us anything we need to know about the Celtics. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe anything you guys don't already know. All right, let's present this. So this is you want to see what a mad scientist I really am in life. This is how insane I am when it comes to math. This is my Excel file. Yes, I literally keep a massive Excel. It's actually a Google Sheets. I track them by putting the numbers in here, and it auto populates the total right there. And it just counts and counts and counts. So I just throw them right in there. And it goes in backwards order. Then I come right through and count it all up. So it's good. It works. It kind of just keeps everything organized. Then it all adds up everything for me and tells me whatever I need to know. So just what my current total is, how far we are from $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $25,000, $3,000. So now I know we're $41 away. I did this all before the first time. And then these are other fundraisers I've done. We did 727 on March 9th, and then 227 was the big one. This was the one we had all the guests on. We did $4,413.20. That was a huge one. Look at all the donations that came in to Karen Reed during that. We had so many that day. And then this is it today. So we're getting in some payments here, which is good. So that's great for Karen. Great work, guys. That's awesome stuff. Perfect stuff. Yeah, no, you're welcome, Adara. It's good stuff. It's just anything to help Karen, just to kind of keep donations coming in for her is a huge thing. That it's just important to do. It's just God forbid this goes to a third trial. To be honest with y'all, I mean, that would be pretty rough, quite frankly, for that to go that way. I mean, considering all the money we've raised already, it's a lot. And I'm not saying we can't handle it. We certainly can handle it, but it's just it's a situation that you don't want to see Karen have to go through again. You know what I mean? With having to raise all that. So perfect. Well, thank you so much. Oh, perfect, Madera. Well, thank you so much. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. That would be great. I'm going to try to get back into doing shows. Yeah, they're already wasting. So much money has been absorbed through 2 trials. Hopefully, there's not a third one. Celtics are back on. 8 minutes to go in the third. It's 79-54. Jason Tatum has the ball. He's going to pop in for a shot. 15-footer and miss. Rebound Knicks. See, this is what's happening right now with the Celtics. They're going into this shooting slump. And this is when the Knicks usually start to crawl back in games. And it's the consecutive amount of shots that get missed that cause the problem, because that's when the Knicks start to kind of crawl back. So the Knicks are on an 8-0 run. Derek White for 3 makes it. Okay, so that's good. That's great. Yeah, run plays in the post. Yeah, I think the Celtics are a little outclassed by the Knicks when it comes to big men. They have Towns and they have Mitchell Robinson, who are both taller than Horford. And then, Porzingis is obviously a unicorn. Is playing limited minutes, it seems. Yeah, they do need to unleash him. So 24-point deficit right now. The Knicks are down. 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. 19 minutes to go in regulation. Towns guarding Tatum outside the 3-point line. He's going to try to drive in here, kick it back, and deflect it out of bounds. We'll take a look at the next amount of donations in a few moments here. Thank you, everybody that's tuning in right now. I appreciate this. It's big time. Kind of nice. I can watch the Celtics, but run a fundraiser for Karen at the same time. Jaylen Brown fouled. It looks like it's going to be called as a block. Maybe not even a block. They're going to say it's Knicks ball. Jaylen Brown drove in with his left hand, swatted out of bounds, but last deflected off of Brown's fingers. 24-point lead. Knicks crowd is definitely getting energetic here. Celtics have 5 blocks in the game. The Knicks have 1. Josh Hart's going to set a high screen on Derek White for Jalen Brunson. And that ball's turned over. There's Jason Tatum down the court. And yes! So they deflected the ball away from Brunson. Drew Holiday threw an outlet pass to Jason Tatum, who drove it in for a lay-in. And let's see here. Here's the replay. Brunson drove off a screen, tried to bounce it in, but it got bobbled. And then Drew Holiday threw it up to Tatum, who laid it right in with his right hand off the right side of the glass and got fouled. So this has an opportunity to be a 3-point play. Dorchester strong. Hey, you know what I watched recently? I hadn't seen in a while was the movie Patriots Day about the Boston Marathon bombing with Mark Wahlberg. That was a great fictionalization of a true story. Mark Wahlberg's character in that movie was made up, just to be basically a composite character of multiple different people. Kind of the character we follow the whole movie through. But yeah, it was a great telling of a tragic story. That was just insane. Oh boy, that was a nutty incident. Mikal Bridges gets a nice 2. That gets the Knicks to 60 points. 85-60 Celtics right now. I might have to refresh this. I'll take a look, Norman. Celtics miss another shot. They're forcing on a lot of these possessions. They're forcing. I think the thing is, I do not believe the Knicks are a better team, but I do believe the Knicks have quite a bit of talent. They have a lot of good players on this team. And they always take advantage of the Celtics' mistakes. And that's really where they've been coming back and winning. Only in New York, though, will you see a guy in a suit, a full business suit, with a Knicks hat on, like a sports hat on. That's funny. So here we go. Celtics, big possession here now. Horford with 3, misses it. See, that again, they need to get in the habit, even though they're up 25 points, we're all paranoid they're still going to lose this game. They got to get in the habit of not always trying to huck up threes when they have a big lead. Now Josh Hart's going to try one, and he front rims it. Okay, now Jason Tatum and Brown. Alleys to Horford, 2-hand jam. That's what you got to do right there. The transitional play is phenomenal on the Celtics. 87-60. 27-point lead, 5 minutes to go. The Celtics figure if they've blown 20-point leads in the first 2 games, then don't have a 20-point lead in this game, go up higher. We're going to check the fundraiser donation in a little bit. Again, live fundraiser, write Mazza in your donation message to Karen Reed's Defense Fund to be counted. The link is at the top of your chat. Yeah, I know, Lucy. I got to keep quiet. Nice alley to Horford there. That was great. Hey, take care, Candy. Thank you for everything. Happy Mother's Day indeed. Yeah, I had to get my Mother's Day card tonight, and I was thinking about getting cupcakes for my mother, and I was also thinking about cooking dinner or maybe buying dinner. Not taking her out for dinner because our family does not go out on Mother's Day anymore, as I told you earlier. Derek White for 3. Maybe I'll either cook dinner or I'll pick up something at a restaurant. We'll see. 87-60 still. Mitchell Robinson getting his hands on it. It looks like Porzingis is back in the game. So the Celtics have Pritchard and White, Tatum and Brown, and Porzingis on the court. Drew Holiday and Horford are getting a rest here, which is good. And the Knicks have Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson. I would say the other guy's name, Ogugbai, and Mitchell Robinson out there. Great lineup for the Knicks. Both teams have a good, 5 of their top 7 players out there at least. So good lineups for both teams right now. And again, the Celtics' key here is to not keep shooting threes unless they're wide open threes, unless they're good threes. Shoot good threes. Take good open shot. You get an open 3, shoot it. But don't, if you get someone 2 feet away from you and you decide to huck it up, don't do that. Pass it around. Tatum's got 17 points, 3 fouls, so he's looking good right now. 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Jalen Brunson guarded by Jaylen Brown. Mitchell Robinson's going to come up for a high screen. They're going to switch to defenders. Pritchard's now guarding Brunson off another screen. Porzingis is now guarding. Inside pass is no good to Mikal Bridges. Celtics ball. Knicks are looking frustrated right now. Thibodeau looks a little frustrated as well. Celtics need to control the pace here, and they're doing that. 87-60. Celtics are going to work the ball here. Jalen Brunson on Brown. Brown's going to try to sauce the ball, drive in, create space. 2-point shot is good. 89-60, nearly a 30-point lead. The Knicks are looking very dispirited here right now. You dunked a penny once? I dunked a real basketball for quite a few years in my life until I got over 35 years old. Then I started to struggle. All right, so free throws coming up from Jalen Brunson, the premier player for the Knicks. I got plenty of seltzer water with me today. It's polar. Thank you, Norman. I appreciate it. I used to be able to dunk easily. Two-hand jams. I used to be able to do a two-hand reverse jam. One hand? No, I did a two-hand reverse. No, I did a one-hand. I can't even remember anymore. It's been long. I think I did a one-hand or a two-hand reverse jam when I was like 17. My best years of basketball were between like 99 and 04. Those are my best years of my life. Playing. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you all. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of yawn there. Taking in too much air. Why? Jalen Brunson's second free throw is going to be no good. Rolls in and out. Jalen Brunson, 15 points today, 6 assists. That's a very good game for him so far. I mean, the Celtics have proven that they can outplay the Knicks in 3 consecutive games. 3 consecutive games they've scored 20. They've had 20-point leads or greater in 3 consecutive games. And realistically here, the Celtics shooting is what doomed them in both of those games. I did not think the Knicks in their comebacks had outplayed us. I felt that the Celtics did not continue scoring and that the Knicks continued to play consistent enough basketball to work into that lead. Celtics turn it over. Out of bounds pass. Jaylen Brown flipping out on Derek White a bit. The Knicks just kept playing consistently, kept working their possessions, kept working the ball, doing what they could. And then the Knicks just kind of, like I said, got back in the game because on account of the Celtics' lack of shooting. Converting their shots realistically. So that was it. All right. Looks like they're showing Central Park, New York. I've been there a couple times in my life. We get a break here. Let's take a look at the Karen Reed donation. So, this is a live fundraiser. Write Mazza in your donation message to Karen Reed's Defense Fund to be counted. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. Our last donation we counted was a $10 donation from Anonymous. Let's refresh this thing. Let's see where we're at. And, oh boy. Oh, we got some donations here. Oh, wow. Okay, we got some donations here. All right, so we got a lot of donations that came in, some good dollars here too. And every bet counts. So we got 2 $50 donations in a row. All right, that Nancy Joe says, Mazza from New York, so sorry, but go Knicks. But we agree on free Karen Reed. That's right. We can't agree on sports, but we can agree on free Karen Reed, and you should always root for your teams, especially your home teams. Norman, we got your donation, Norman. Donation to Karen Reed Fund, $50. Great job. Mazza is fire. Free Karen Reed, $10 donation. We'll get that counted. All right. Then we got another donation from Nancy Joe, who put in a second donation. So Nancy made a $50, then a $100 donation. So we're going to count the $100 for you. All right. And then Anonymous says, thanks for all you do, Mazza. Free Karen Reed, justice is coming. $10 donation now counted. All right. And then we got Patricia with a $10 donation. She says, Mazza, free Karen Reed, counted. Denise, thanks, Mazza. Free Karen Reed, justice for John O'Keefe. $25 donation. Our new total, are you guys ready? $1,214 is our new total. Wow. Wow, that is fantastic. Great job, guys. That is your new total as of right now as a collective whole. We have contributed so much to Karen Reed's Defense Fund today, guys, as a whole. What a great job. This is where you say go team. Go Celtics or go Knicks if you're rooting for the Knicks. And other than that, we got over $1,000. I wanted to get, honestly, over $500 today. But we've got 1,000. So kind of my first goal was 500. Then I hope for maybe 1,000. We've got that. So that's looking real good right now. So I'm just going to send. All right, perfect. I'm just making a notation that that's what we got so far. Perfect. That's great. Guys, that's outstanding. What's always so great about everyone is that these goals always go higher than what I hope for. Like even when we had the $4,000 in funds added that day, we had I had only expected like 1,000, and then we quadrupled the goal. I think I had $1,000 goal. And then the funds just kept pumping in. You guys are doing a great job. Karen Reed's total defense fund is now $957,000, $957,360. $957 overall. We're pushing towards that million. We've contributed as a whole $1,000. We are $286 away from $1,500, and we've had some. And every donation helps. It doesn't matter if it's $10 or $20. You know, if 10 people paid. You know, if 10 people donate $10, that's $100. You know, and then you have those larger donations that come in, 50s, 100s that add up. You know, and just kind of contributes to that whole. It's amazing how many will add up. Our total amount of donators so far, 31 people have contributed so far. 31 people. That is amazing. That is amazing. Amazing. That's huge. Jalen Brunson's at the free throw line, 89-62. The Knicks made their comeback at the end of the third quarter in game 1 and in the fourth quarter in game 2. Jalen Brunson's got 17 points now, 6 assists, 4 turnovers on the day. Shooting under 50% from the field. Peyton Pritchard, Luke Cornett, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Porzingis on the court. Peyton Pritchard nailed a 3. 92-63, 29-point lead. And some kind of foul here. Might be on the Celtics. It's just, it's frustrating as a Celtics fan because they really had a high percentage chance, a 90% chance or greater of winning the first 2 games, but yet they lost both. Even if they had just won one of the games, you know, they would be taking a 2-game-to-1 lead. But they're going to have to win 2 games in New York City at least. And then they're going to need 2 games in Boston. So they're going to need to win 4 out of 5 games. Patrick Ewing's in the crowd there. One of my favorite players growing up. Actually from Cambridge, Massachusetts. Ben Stiller's in the crowd. You might remember him from such films as Dodgeball, Meet the Parents, Heavyweights, Along Came Polly, The Heartbreak Kid. A whole host of other films. Porzingis out there. Former Knick passes inside to Luke Cornett. 2-hand jam. 94-65. Celtics maintaining that 29-point lead. Luke Cornett wanted a foul, but he didn't get it. Someone said, did you and Mazza meet at Dunks? I don't usually go to Dunkin' Donuts, so I don't know what's being talked about there. Karen Reed donation fundraiser link is pinned to the top of your chat. Write Mazza in your donation message to Karen Reed's Defense Fund to be counted. The Knicks are not giving up. It's been their key to this series so far, is not giving up. Mitchell Robinson misses another free throw. What is she at Violent? What's this going on? I was just watching a live stream of a lady that drove up the Boston area for the trial, and she's scared in her hotel. I tried asking her what about, but she said she didn't want to say. There's nothing to be scared about. Yeah, there's nothing to be scared about. Nothing is happening to anybody. Like, nobody's being followed. Like, you're not gonna wear a free Karen Reed shirt around Massachusetts, and people are not going to start following you. You know, that's been, you know, even when people used to have pizza deliveries to their front door, that was Peyton Pritchard for 2, gets it. 31-point lead for the Celtics now, 96-65. Yeah, no, there's not going to be people that are Karen Reed are not being followed. And if they are going to come after anybody, it's going to be more high profile people, but there's been no stories of that I've heard that there's any reason why you should be afraid of anything. Like, you're not going to hop in your car wearing a free Karen Reed shirt leaving the courthouse. They're not going to send state police after you, pull you over on the pike on the way back to your hotel. It's not going to happen. And Scott McGinnis just said, there's no issues if your boot's on the ground by court. I'm there every day. There's no issue. Yeah, there's been no issues. I know, Scott, you're probably hoping that buffer zone gets significantly reduced after the big win by Jason and company, Allison and company. That was huge. Jalen Brunson for 2 gets it. 96-69. Celtics in the lead. Last minute of the third quarter. Both teams are in the bonus here. Of course, the Knicks lead the series 2-0. Yeah, there is no buffer zone on the weekends if you're thinking positively. You could stand outside the court and chant free Karen Reed all you want, I guess, and there'd be no issue. Jaylen Brown's got the ball. Brunson guarding him. 2-point shot. Misses. Rebound, Towns. 30 seconds to go. Did anybody go to the standout that they did on Thursday outside the court? I know there was a lot of people out there early in the morning. Yeah, that's what I say too. The old buffer zone at the very least from last year would be sufficient because it was a comfortable. It was a little bit rough. It took some getting used to, but the buffer zone itself was pretty comfortable last year, and that was for sure. And but this year it's so that's why I think a lot of people have gone towards the town more. I think where the businesses are, as opposed to the other side, because it's a little tight back there. So I think, the buffer zone can be at least what it was last year. It'd be a lot more comfortable out there. We used to have the truck out there with the food. Everyone would grab something to eat for lunch, which was really nice. But this year it's very crampy out there for sure. But I'm hoping that, Scott, that they reduce it to just maybe the sidewalk around the court. And maybe no more than maybe the street or something leading to the sidewalks across the court. That would make it very comfortable for everybody. Celtics at the ball, 10 seconds. Derek White, high screen from Porzingis. He's going to look for a 3 but hesitate. Shooting it anyways. Misses it. Rebound Knicks. Josh Hart's going to bomb this ball from half court. Nothing. 96-70. Celtics are in the lead. 26-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Let's take a look at Karen Reed donations. But first, this is a live fundraiser show. Write Mazza in your donation message to Karen Reed's Defense Fund to be counted. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. All right, here we go. Let's reload this thing. All right, let's see. All right, so the last one I counted was a $25 donation from Denise. Thank you, Denise. So let's start counting these ones. B with $20. I've seen your name come up before, B. Thank you so much for helping Karen Reed in her fight. $20. Anonymous, nice to see Mazza back. He donates $25.09. All right, get that counted. All right, that's in there. Then we got a $100 donation. I'd have to leave on a jet plane, but it's worth it. Dinner with AJ. Okay, that one we're not going to count. All right, that anonymous one we're not going to count. Then someone said 10 for 10 Mazza. We'll count that one. All right, so it looks like there's some other thing going on as well here. For a dinner. So maybe we had 2 $100 donations earlier that were, I don't know, we might be off a little bit, but that's okay. At the very least, we're over 1,000 as of this show's ability to raise funds for Karen as viewers and all of us combined. So that's great news. Did you guys have thunder and lightning overnight around like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning in Massachusetts or on the East Coast anywhere? I woke up in the morning, lightning bolts. I see the shades lighting up. It was like, what the hell is going on out there? That was crazy. Definitely crazy. So Celtics are going into the fourth quarter. They got to win this one. Got to win this one this time around. Got to get the job done. Microdots posted a picture that's really funny. I'll get this on the screen in just a moment. That's too funny right there. This is a ride. You guys are going to love this one. I'm getting a funny picture that Microdots just posted of. All right, 12 minutes to go. I think one thing the Celtics can do a little bit is slow the pace when they need to. And they should be good. All right, here we go. I'm going to share this for you guys. You guys ready to laugh? All right, here we go. Here it comes. How to Lose a Girl in 10 Days, coming soon from Microdots. Hi, Pat. How you doing? The Thunder to take down the Celtics. Come on, JD. The Thunder got a great team. A lot of young talent there. All right, that's funny right there. Microdots just posted this online. That's funny stuff right there. Yeah, Boston's definitely expensive. Yeah, this is a funny picture. They like how he added the bouquet there. How to Lose a Girl in 10 Days. That listening to those text messages back and forth though were painful to do. Painful. All right, Celtics and Knicks are back. Celtics possession. Yeah, Thunder are a good team. The Thunder really screwed up with letting Harden go. That Harden Westbrook. I think they had Serge Ibaka. I don't think they had Serge Ibaka and Harden at the same time, though. But, oh, come on, Tatum. Hit that three, Pritchard. Bingo. 99-73. 11 minutes to go. Spike Lee's put his hand on his head. He's all upset right now. Celtics were the favorites on the bettings lines coming in this game. Yeah, no, the Thunder are good. They got a lot of great players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being one of those players. One of the best players in the league this year. Could potentially be NBA MVP. Brunson for three. Misses. Rebound, Mikal Bridges for three. Cans it. So the Knicks are fighting here. This is going to be the big push now. The next 5 minutes of this game will heavily impact the last 5 minutes. And that's basically going to be the question of, will the Knicks close the gap? And I think what helps the Celtics, especially when you have a lead like this, is to kind of work the shot clock down, quite a bit. Tatum for two. They're going to call him with an offensive foul with a push-off. I think the thing that kind of killed the Celtics is not using the shot clock to their advantage when they had a big lead. And that's definitely something that cost them. I think you want to work this clock down as much as possible. You have a 23-point lead. You want to maintain that for as long as you can. You don't want to give the Knicks, you don't want to miss too many shots, give the Knicks opportunities to start knocking down shots. Suddenly they trim a 23-point lead down to about 17. Brunson for three makes it. 20-point game, just like that. Celtics are going to call timeout. So great start by the Knicks right now in this quarter. There's J.R. Smith's at the game today, former Knick there, also played for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So right now in this quarter, it's 9-3 Knicks in the fourth quarter alone. Yeah, I agree with you, Joe. They really do need to chill out. We'll do a Karen Reed check as well. Cat was the last one I counted. We'll count some new ones here. Let's see what we got. All right. We got another $10 donation. Can't do much, and this is my first donation, but so glad you are back, Mazza. You were very much. Don't ever shame yourself for only $10. I don't even want to say only $10. Don't ever shame yourself for a $10 donation. Every donation you make does count towards the whole, which is extremely huge here. So that's definitely great. So great job. And do what you can. Do what you can. If you can't make a donation, share the link to somebody else and see if they can make a donation. Don't always have to pressure yourself to make a payment, donation to Karen, but just do what you can and whatever you feel comfortable with. I don't want to see people breaking. Don't make $1,000 donation or $100 donation. Just pay whatever. Donate whatever you can. You feel you're comfortable with, and that's all we can do, right? That's all we can do is just do what we can do, and that's it. All contributions are fantastic. At the end of the day, it gets us to $1,279.09. We are $220.91 away from $1,500. That's very good. Even if we stopped here, we're looking very good. Over 1,000 is fantastic. Over $1,000 in donations today is very good. Very, very pleased with that. Even $500 was my goal, coming into the show. So I'm very happy with everything. So looking good, guys. Looking good. Yeah, when you watch everybody on camera, Jen, you feel like that was the way it was for me. I had never last year when I went for the first time, I had not shown my face yet. Nobody knew who I was except for they knew who MazzaMedia was. They knew who I was on Twitter. They knew who I was in the Young Jerks, but they did not know me visually. And people started recognizing my voice right off the bat. It was the funniest thing. Go Celtics. Yeah, it was the funniest thing. But you start to feel like you know people after a while, because you see them on camera all the time. When I went down there, I felt like I already knew them all, for sure. So I'm sure Tom would be happy if the buffer zone gets limited, because I think that's really hurting his boots on the ground photography of streaming everything. Oh, they're showing the new Mission Impossible trailer. I'm going to go see that. That's coming out in 2 weeks. I'm going to go see that movie. I've seen the last couple Mission Impossibles in the movie theater. I saw Fallout and I saw Dead Reckoning. I was going to go see Rogue, but I never had a chance to go see it. But I'm going to see Mission Impossible. I'm going to go see the Karate Kid Legends. I might see the new John Wick movie, which is called Ballerina, which stars Ana de Armas. I might see that. I'm just going to wait for the trailer on that first, but I'm going to start heading to the movie theater here again. I have not been to the movie theater in a long time. I don't even remember the last movie I even saw in the movie theater. That's how long it's been. I couldn't even tell you. The crowd looks quiet in New York, but they're happy they're down 20. That's been the sweet spot the last couple of games. The 20-point deficit. Celtics ball, they're back in action. Drew Holiday with the ball. Ralph Macchio was in your magazines. That's funny. Tatum into Porzingis. Porzingis for 2. Misses it, but fouled. He's going to the line. Yeah, they'd have to revise the buffer zone, Sean. So what happened was that Mark Randazzo has been fighting on behalf of Karen Reed supporters, and they have got a high-level circuit-level judge to force an amendment. So it's not going to remove the buffer zone, but it's going to make it more in line with the First Amendment that's respectable to the judge's concern about jury influence. So they might just have something where they can't go in the back of the court, or maybe go within the perimeter of the court. So it might get reduced. We'll see what ends up happening. 20-point lead. Porzingis missed his first free throw. Not a very good game from him scoring-wise. Second free throw is good. That brings it to 179. The Knicks are going to need 21 points to get to 100. But the Celtics still have 9 minutes to get above 100, even more so. So we'll see how this game plays out. But the Celtics, again, no forcing threes. Move the ball. The Knicks are going to fight here, especially in this 5-minute window here. From now until the 5-minute mark is really going to determine if this game's going to have the starters in it under 5 minutes, or if this is going to be a battle for the last 5 minutes. So we'll see how this plays here. And again, if I'm the Celtics, I'm working the shot clock, which they didn't do there. Tatum shot with 14 seconds left in the shot clock and missed. Brunson being guarded by Peyton Pritchard now, originally Drew Holiday. Under 9 minutes to go. Towns has the ball. He's working inside. Off the nothing. Celtics are going to... There was a lot of chipping away. Peyton Pritchard comes clean. Now, I'd hold the ball here a little bit. Work the ball. Almost a turnover by the Celtics. And we got somebody get knocked out of... Horford got knocked down in the corner there by Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson saying it's accidental. Al Horford's insisting that he was pushed on purpose and that it should be a foul that's called. And Jalen Brunson still stating his case that it was an accident. They're going to go to commercial break. All right, Aguilera is a fun dude to meet. Scott says, Bev will do 0 about the buffer zone. Her job is to help her crime boss, Michael Morrissey, who she is beholden to. I can't disagree. We'll see what happens. All right, we're going to see if we have any more donations coming in here. We do not. So no more donations yet. So if you guys are able to make a donation for this live fundraiser, write Mazza in your donation message. Karen Reed's Defense Fund link. go to the Defense Fund link to make that donation and write Mazza in your comment. You'll be good to go. So the link again is at the top of the chat. That's a funny looking cat. A lot of fur. Very furry looking cat there in this commercial. He's got a lot of fur on his body. That's funny. All right. So we got 8 minutes and 41 seconds of gameplay. Yeah, Scott, I'm looking to see what's going to happen with that buffer zone myself. I'm wondering if this is something the judge is going to write about or if she's going to actually address it in court. I don't know what's going to happen there. We'll see. Yeah, the glare is a riot. Me and him hang out. Every time me and the glare hang out, it's too much fun. We're always joking around about the last time I saw him was in Fall River. Seltzer water, polar, always polar. They got to show us McDonald's McCrispy strips. I admit I went to McDonald's recently. All right. I try not to go to McDonald's. I'm trying to lose weight, but I went there a week ago. I ordered a Big Mac with 4 patties, extra onions, extra special sauce. Best Big Mac I ever had my whole life. It was incredible. Oh, TikTok's on fire right now? That's cool. That's good to hear. I'm not a TikToker. That's not really my game. Please like and subscribe to my channel as well if you could, if you don't mind. Looks like we hit 10.9 subscribers. Yeah, 4 patties. I just think the Big Mac patties are too small. But I had 4 patties and extra special sauce and extra onions on that thing. Pretty much everything but extra lettuce, right? Extra lettuce. No extra lettuce, no extra bread, basically. But yeah, I went there, large fries. I got to stop going to, like I said, every time I go to McDonald's, I feel like I'm like betraying myself to the highest level. Yeah, that's how I feel about that. So, no, it could be in lemonade pickets. All right. Final stretch here. Like I said, the next 3 minutes of this game. Yeah, I like the little diced onions. So the Knicks are going to need 21 points just to tie it. And that's not including all the points that the Celtics could score. So I do make homemade special sauce when I make cheeseburgers. So I take mayonnaise, and based on the amount of mayonnaise I take I put it on a plate or in a bowl. Based on the scoop size of the mayonnaise, I then take mustard and ketchup and buffalo sauce. That together, those 3 equal about the scoop size of the mayonnaise. A little bit of pepper, and I mix it all together. And that's how I make my special sauce. And I throw some relish in it too. So it's mayonnaise, a little bit of mustard, a little bit of ketchup, a little bit of buffalo sauce, and some relish and some pepper. Yeah, basically a Thousand Island dressing at the end of the day, right? Pretty much is. It has some vinegar in it and all that. Celtics got the lead, 102-79. Knicks ball. Mikal Bridges is going to score. One of the very good players in the league. They have some very good players on the Knicks. They have Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, all very good players. 102-81. Mikal Bridges has 12 points today. Shooting 60% from the field. Good game for him. Tatum for 3 is no good. Rebound. Horford back up, and that's in 104-81. I think the Celtics are going to lock this game up. It's all about pacing at this point now. Knicks at 81 points. Towns is going to go in. Mitchell Robinson's blocked by Porzingis. Now, this is where Horford's dribbling the ball up the court, past half court, back to Tatum. This is where you slow it right down now. Milk the clock. Milk the clock. Milk the shot clock. You don't want to... One of the things they did in game 1 was they shot too early into the shot clock. And they gave too much, they left too much time on the game. If you take 5 seconds, an extra 5 seconds off a lot of those possessions, you're taking about, quite a bit of time. Porzingis inside, mismatch on Josh Hart or McBride. Rebound, Knicks by Jalen Brunson. He's powering up the court, guarded by Holiday, runs into Porzingis. He's going to pass it out. to Towns. Towns is blocked. They're going to call it no foul. Towns wants a foul. Mitchell Robinson falls down. Pritchard here. Possession. Jalen Brunson's trying to guard Horford in the post into Drew Holiday above the free throw line. Back out to Pritchard. 6:45 remaining. 10 seconds in the shot clock. Pritchard's going to try to work the ball on Towns. Fires a three. Misses it. Rebound. Bridges. Back out to Jalen Brunson. My favorite place to get buffalo wings. I just get I buy them raw, or I buy the Purdue crispy wings. Alley-oop by Holiday to Tatum is no good. And I usually just get them roasted with no sauce on them, and I use my own sauce. I buy Sweet Baby Ray's buffalo sauce, but I get it mild. I like a mild buffalo sauce, not a blazing hot buffalo sauce. I like the flavor, not the heat. Well, I like a bit of heat, but not a ton of heat. Celtics ball again, 6 minutes to go. Tatum up top. Karen Reed donation link is pinned to the top of the chat. Make a donation and write Mazza. We'll count that towards the total today. We've raised over $1,200 for Karen Reed today as a movement. Great job. Jalen Brunson. Knicks got the rebound. Jalen Brunson's got the ball. Brunson for two is good. 104-83. And based on this, it's a 21-point lead. And Celtics are looking to put in Jaylen Brown back into the game, and as well as another substitution. Oh, Drew Holiday for three. 107-83. Tracy Morgan's there from Saturday Night Live alumni. 107-83. Celtics are 18 for 36 from three-point range today. The Knicks are 5 for 22 from three-point range. I've had dry rub before. I usually do Cajun powder. If I do a dry rub, it's I go with the Cajun spice, which is really good. That tastes phenomenal in blue cheese, by the way. So I get the Cajun rub, and then I cook it right up, and then cover it all in spice, and then bam, it's unbelievable. Boom, is what it is. Finally, the Celtics are playing consistent here. If they played this, the Celtics played this consistent in the first two games, they would have won. They'd be up 3-0 right now. The only reason why the Knicks are in this series is because of the Celtics shooting woes in those first two games. Take care, Lucy. Have a great supper. I'm about to head out here, too. As soon as this show's over, I got to head out. I got some shopping. Open up my own wing place. I don't know if I want to open up a restaurant. It's a lot of work. I mean, well, it's not a lot of. It's not that it's a lot of work. It's a very big investment, and restaurants can fail quite easily, which is crazy. Next commercial break, I'll take a look at the Karen Reed Fund donations to see what we've done as a collective group here. Towns sinks a free throw, 107-85, 22-point lead, 5 minutes to go. This should be it here. Celtics just want to hold the ball as much as possible, work the clock. No need to rush. They rushed it a little too much. Yeah, I'm going to get my mother a Mother's Day card, and then probably maybe some cupcakes. And then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to cook for dinner. I'm going to cook something special. Mother's Day in May and Father's Day in June. Knicks crowd's definitely out of it now. All right, let's check the donations to Karen Reed's defense. I'm going to take a quick glance while this game kind of bogs down for a minute here. We got a couple of them. $20 from Anonymous. Come on, Celtics. JD, want you all to play the #1 team. Let's go. Thunder. Great show. Maz, that's the $20 there. We'll count it. Free throws for Karl Anthony Towns coming up. And he sinks the first. Ann made a donation of $20 to Karen Reed's defense fund as well. Said free Karen Reed and mentioned Mazza. And then the last one here, Rosemary, $5 donation. Thank you so much, Rosemary. All right. Together we're at $1,324,009. $1,324.09. All right. All righty then. There we go. My mother, I took my mother to the Indiana Fever last year down in Connecticut. We watched the very first game Caitlin Clark ever played in the WNBA. I took her down to the Mohegan Sun, and it was my Mother's Day gift. Actually, it was a Mother's Day / birthday gift for her, as her birthday's a couple weeks away. So I took her down there around like the 14th, 13th, 14th, 15th, whatever it was last year. That was a great time. Mother's Sunday. I bought the tickets before Caitlin Clark was drafted by the Fever, because I knew once she got drafted by the Fever, the prices would skyrocket, and so they did. So I ended up, and plus the tickets were already higher than they usually are anyways. So I got the tickets for a really reasonable price for 2 seats and good seats, which was good. But those same tickets in the same area were like doubled or tripled once she got drafted by the Fever. So I just decided to take the risk. The Fever had the number 1 pick. Caitlin Clark was going to be the number 1 pick. So I'm like, I said it was 3 or 4 days before the draft. I said, you know what? I'm going to buy these seats right now. And then on draft day, all I had to do was wait for her to get drafted. And it happened. And my mother had a great time. Our whole family are basketball fans. So it was a nice treat. We don't, as a family, I don't really go to many sports games, but Caitlin Clark was so popular last year. And, my mom was just a huge Caitlin Clark fan. It meant the world to her. It was a good time. I had never been down to Mohegan before. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I captured her first basket ever in her career on camera. Took her until the second quarter, but it was a good time. Not everyone is tall in my family. My mother's side is very tall. My dad's side is very average in height. But I have cousins that are 6'9", 6'10". They thought I was going to be 6'7", 6'8". I ended up being 6'5". I love the Bruins. I went to the Bruins too, once a year. I didn't make it out to a Celtics game. Oh, you're a fellow Iowan? That's good. Yeah, you must have seen. Did you go to the Iowa City game, Paula? That was just out there recently. I know they took the team out there for a nice preseason game in Iowa, which was great. The Kid Rock at Mohegan? That's good, yeah. Yeah, I'm 6'5", but I should have been taller. I'm kind of like 2 or 3 inches shorter than what I was supposed to be. Which sucks when it comes to basketball because you need all the height you can possibly get. That's okay. 6'5". Actually, after my time playing basketball ended formally in high school and college, I was happy about only being 6'5", because there's a lot of limitations when you're taller. I couldn't go on the Superman the ride at Six Flags. Both times I went in my life, way back when, 20 years ago or something. Like, no, you can't go on if you're this tall. My friend's like, oh, you can go on anyways. I'm like, no, I'm not going to risk my life on the Man of Steel the ride at Six Flags. No, thanks. I value my life. Yeah, that's true. Those tickets in Iowa were selling quickly, I heard. I mean, she's a great player. She's a nice person. I met her parents. Her parents actually sat 7 or 8 rows in front of me. And her mother started greeting everybody, and I said hello, and she goes, "Thank you for coming." And then her dad, he's very much, he's very focused. He's very, I wouldn't say he's not mean or rude. He's just I think he's very locked in on his daughter playing basketball. It was a very important day for him with their WNBA debut. So he's nice if you reach out to him, I saw, but I didn't have a chance to catch up to him. He walked past me in the corridor at one point during halftime. I don't want to pester him. I'm sure enough people are saying hello to him. I think it was the day before I'd gone to Dedham for the first time. That's right. I'd gone to Dedham for the first time the day before. So I was outside the Karen Reed trial the first time ever for myself the day before. And then I was in Mohegan Sun the day after. That was a great couple days. Great couple days there. Celtics are going to wrap this one up. 110-88. One game at a time for the Celtics, I'll tell you that much. The series is not over yet. If the Celtics can win the next game and tie the series, then it would be like the first 4 games never even happened, and it's just the best of 3. And that's what they need to do. And respectfully to the Knicks, the Celtics have really just blown these games that they lost. Tatum for 3, misses it, rebounds it, follows his own shot, lays it in. 112.89, 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go. Last call for any donations to Karen Reed's fundraiser today. Write Mazza in your donation message while going to the link that's pinned to the top of the chat. I think we're over 1,300 in donations right now. Karl Anthony Towns misses. Rebound Celtics. They're going to walk the ball up the court, of course. 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go. I'm going to head out for a bit after this. Got out early today, worked out. Did some walking today. Got some exercise. I'll check the legal defense link. Looks like a timeout's been called here. 115.89 Celtics. Let's see. We got a $20 donation. Elizabeth Mazza, free Karen Reed, sending love and strength to Karen and her team. All right. That gets us to 1344.09. Last call here during the Celtics fundraiser stream. I will be on Brit Happens tomorrow night, about 7 o'clock, for at least an hour. And I'll tune into that. And let's about knock my microphone over here. Celtics are going to walk away with a nice win today. They're not going to blow the lead today. If they can not blow leads, that would be great. Moving forward, do not blow any more leads, Celtics. It's 19 all in this quarter. The Celtics won the first quarter 36-20, the second quarter 35-26 or 28, the third quarter 25-24, and this is a dead heat right now in the fourth quarter. So great job by the Celtics. Made a lot of mistakes in those early games. Playing a lot of extra games here that they shouldn't have to play because they couldn't get the job done in the first two games. At least if they could have won one of those two games, it would have changed the whole dynamic. Maybe I'll be back in the next round or later in the series if they do another weekend game. We can do another fundraiser and Celtics stream. Mike from the Young Jerks had really great shows yesterday and today. He had Mark Betterow and Carl Steinbeck on. And then he had another attorney on today that was very good as well. Had some very good thoughts to share. Please subscribe to my channel as well if you have not already. Appreciate the followers. Thank you for everyone today that sent the super chat as well. I do appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. Under 2 minutes to go at Madison Square Garden. Crowd's starting to filter out now. These are pricey tickets, so these home fans are seeing a lot of losses. The Pacers won twice in Cleveland, Ohio, and the Cavs fans got to see their team lose twice. The Celtics fans got to see their team lose twice. Now I heard the Pacers lost last night at home, if I'm not mistaken. And so every Eastern Conference playoff series right now is ending with home teams losing. We're over $1,300. Jen, a final tally is going to come up in just a few moments here. I get that final tally. If you guys are able to make a donation to Karen Reed's Defense Fund while we're still live, please do so now. We'll get that total out to you in just a little bit. I appreciate everybody tuning in and bearing with me today through all the changing topics between Karen Reed and the Celtics. Looks like a lot of reserves are out for both teams now. Yeah, both teams have got the reserves out. Thank you, Casey. Have a great one. Hopefully there's some cupcakes left at the grocery market. Oh, you're welcome. I won't, JD. Your team has a great chance of getting to the finals this year. The Warriors are coming up next. Whoa, Jen, thank you for the super chat there. 1999. Thank you, Jen. Love you, Mazza. I love you too. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Peyton Pritchard for 2. Rebound by the Knicks. Thank you so much, Jen. Appreciate that. Yeah, it should be interesting to see who makes it to the finals. 2-and jam by the Knicks. 30 seconds to go. 115-93. Celtics are going to run down the clock. The Celtics, ladies and gentlemen, maybe I should just stream every game at this point because they should stream every game at this point because it seems like they're 1-0 on streams this year. Me and my friends streamed the Celtics Warriors finals a couple of years ago. I think we did 2 games. I think we actually did the game the Warriors beat the Celtics to win it all, which sucked. But yeah, it was too bad. So the Pacers and Knicks are up 2-1 in their series. 2-1 Knicks, 2-1 Cavs. All the away teams have won every single game so far, which is unprecedented. That's incredible. So that's incredible right there. Celtics won 115-93. No comeback for the Knicks today. Let's take a look at the total donation to Karen Reed. This is going to be the last count. And then I'm going to post the final numbers. Whoa! We got Cheryl with $50 coming in. Wow. All right. So we got total here is coming out momentarily. All right. I'm typing it out right now. Here we go. I think that's it. All right. I'm just going to double check the number one more time. Yeah. I'm going to check this fund one more time too. All right. We're going to call this the end right here. All right. Here it comes. Ready? Here we go. Boom. There you go. There's your final number. 1394.09. That is your total, ladies and gentlemen. Great work. Great job to everybody that participated in this today. That was fantastic. That's a great, great day of donations. Great stuff. Celtics won. We got over $1,000 in donations to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. We did a lot today. If you're a Boston fan, it's been a great day. Good money raised for Karen. Good money, good victory for the Celtics, I should say. And that's pretty good for a daytime stream on a weekend too. A lot of times the audiences are not as plentiful on the weekends. So that's to be over even though I was thinking 500, but over 1,000 is fantastic. That's great work by everybody out there today. And that's fantastic. So I'm going to change this to say fundraiser total. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. Jason, you've done a great job, man. You're the best. I'll hopefully catch up with you soon too, man. I got to see you guys soon. All right, there we go. That's it right there. So I'm going to grab a screenshot of this. Right here. There we go. Bingo. Got it. All right. That works. Oh, plot twist ending to send a massive super chat here. Please relay to Karen Fun. That makes me look like a selfish person. You put me in a bind here. I'll do something. I'll make a donation. I ask that everybody when you make your donations, they have to go to the fund directly because YouTube takes a cut. So for example, if you send me $100 super chat, then you say send the funds to the fund, right? YouTube takes a portion of what a super chat is. Then I also pay taxes on that, which I don't know what the amount is. So that's why it's tough to do the math. So how about I do this? I will I'll make a $75 donation right now, and then I'll re-add the total. That's what I'll do. So I'll pay 3/4 of it, and then the other will get eaten up by YouTube. That'll be good. Okay. And then I'll take the rest off a donation off the taxes. I'll just put it towards my donation. That will work. Okay. That will be good. Yeah. Okay. That's what I'll do. So $75. So let me re-up the total for Karen. So let's do $1394.09 plus the 75 I'm going to throw in. $1394.09. I'll make it 100 then. I saw you just gave me another super chat. I'll throw in another 100. So I'll make this. I'll donate $100 myself off this. All right. So I'll do $100. I'm going to make that. Yeah, I'll just make it 100. I'll keep it up. All right. So $100 even. I just don't want to look like I'm selfish by collecting a super, what I'm saying? That's what I kind of worry about. Like, I don't want to look selfish or stingy. That's what I kind of worry about. You know what I'm saying? Is I don't want to be like, I don't want to be like, oh man, Mazza got like all these donate super chats, but he didn't donate money back. It's like, So I don't want to be like, stream. I'm going to make a note here. Stream fundraiser total. Live stream fundraiser total. Total is now going to be, you know what I'll do? Wait a second. What are we at? 13. Why don't I make this 1,500 on the spot? And what I'll do is I'll donate 100 plus the difference. That will get us to 1,500 exactly. That's what we'll do. Okay. So we're going to call the total here. Yeah, that will work. I'll donate like $106. Okay. So we'll get the fundraiser to 1,500. All right. So I'll make that after the air, but we're going to count my donation on behalf of Plot Twist. There we go. I got to make sure my face looks good for the screenshot. Okay, perfect. All right, we'll do. All right, we'll go with 1,500 as our new total. I'll make that donation. I'll do the calculation and add it soon. And then that's it. That's a great day. 1,500 on the spot then. Perfect. You guys are the best. All right, great, guys. Well, thank you so much. The Celtics won 1,500 in total donations. I'll get this donation out in the next few minutes. You guys can spot check it for, make sure I'm being not pocketing the money and running out the door. I'm here to raise money for Karen. So, all right, guys, have a great one. Free Karen Reed. Take care of yourself. They're calling me a baddie. I appreciate it so much. Free Karen Reed, guys. Have a good one. I'll be on Brit Happens tomorrow night, and I'll post a screenshot of this momentarily. And we should be good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care and have a great evening. For MazzaMedia, I am Mark. Thank you for this 3-hour show, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great one. Go Celtics. Free Karen Reed.